Strong from the inside out, how compassionate parenting builds confident, disciplined, and emotionally healthy kids. Magdalena Chopra, Compassionate Living Books, LLC. Dedication to Damien, the child who made me brave, the soul who showed me patience, and the reason I believe in second chances. Introduction, what I learned the hard way. I am not a professional. I am a mother who has been learning for 28 years. I had my first son when I was barely 16. I was still a child myself, trying to raise one. I did have the love, but not yet the experience, patience, or emotional stability that parenting requires. I loved my son deeply, but I did not yet understand what real discipline meant. In those early years, I made mistakes that came from youth, exhaustion, and fear. I made promises I did not keep. I gave warnings I never followed through on. I yelled when I should have listened. I demanded respect before I had learned how to show it. I did not sit beside my son to help him grow or feel proud of himself. He had a difficult childhood because he was raised by a mother who was still learning who she was. That truth is not easy to admit, but it is the truth that shaped me. Now, many years later, I am raising my younger son, an 8-year-old boy with autism, and I am no longer the mother I was at 16. I have grown into a parent who leads with calm, with empathy, and with structure. I have learned that discipline is not control or punishment. It is teaching, it is guiding. It is showing a child what strength and self-control look like through love and consistency. I have spent years observing, reflecting, and trying again. I believe that every parent can grow. We owe it to our children to keep learning and doing better. Children are innocent and fragile beings who are shaped by how they are raised. Their sense of worth, safety, and self-discipline begins in the small, daily moments of childhood. If one parent feels more confident and one child grows up feeling safer and loved because of these pages, then I have done what I set out to do. This is not a book of rules. It is a book of lessons learned through real life. It is written by a mother who has made mistakes, kept growing, and now feels confident enough to share what has worked. My goal is not perfection. It is compassion, growth, and peace within the family. If you are reading this, it means you care, and that is where every good kind of discipline begins. Chapter 1, Rethinking Discipline. Discipline has been misunderstood for generations. Many of us were taught that discipline meant control, that a parent's job was to demand obedience, punish mistakes, and keep a tight grip. But that kind of discipline only teaches fear, not strength. True discipline teaches responsibility, patience, and self-control. It builds inner strength, not outward obedience. It helps a child understand how their actions affect others and how to make things right when they go wrong. Discipline is teaching, not punishment. The word discipline comes from the same root as disciple, which means to teach. Discipline is not about power, it is about guidance. It is helping a child learn to choose what is right, even when no one is watching. When a parent uses punishment to control behavior, the child learns to avoid getting caught. When a parent uses calm teaching, the child learns to think, reflect, and make better choices. Many of us learn discipline through fear. We grew up hearing, "because I said so," or "stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about." These phrases shut down emotions and teach children that their feelings are not welcome. Real discipline creates the opposite effect. It opens a safe space for learning. When we guide instead of punish, we give children time to think. We allow them to practice self-control. We help them connect their actions to outcomes in a calm, meaningful way. Discipline is not about making a child feel bad. It is about helping them feel capable. A child who learns through calm guidance begins to regulate themselves. They learn to pause before reacting, to notice the feelings of others, and to take responsibility. Those are life skills that last much longer than any rule or consequence. What fear teaches fear might stop a behavior for a moment, but it damages trust. It teaches compliance, not understanding. A child who obeys out of fear does not learn empathy or reflection. They learn how to avoid punishment. Fear teaches children that mistakes make them unlovable. It teaches them that love is conditional on behavior, not on who they are. This is not what any parent truly wants. We want our children to feel loved through every stage. Even when they are struggling, when a child fears a parent's reaction, they may stop being honest. They might lie to avoid consequences or hide problems instead of asking for help. This disconnects them from us, and over time it makes discipline harder, not easier. Discipline built on fear creates short-term obedience but long-term insecurity. Discipline built on connection creates self-discipline that lasts for life. Changing what we were taught. Many parents find it difficult to parent differently from how they were raised. We carry habits that were passed down for generations. Maybe we were spanked, shamed, or made to feel small when we made mistakes. Those moments shape us deeply. If you were raised that way, it does not mean you are destined to repeat it. You have already taken the first step by reflecting. Awareness gives you power. You can decide that the cycle ends with you. When we know better, we do better. We can choose to build relationships that teach instead of control. That choice does not erase the past, but it can heal it. Gentle parenting is not weak parenting. It requires more patience, more emotional control, and more awareness than traditional discipline ever did. It means regulating your own emotions before guiding your child's. It means modeling calm instead of demanding it. That is real strength. Discipline through connection. Compassionate discipline means staying calm enough to see what is happening beneath the behavior. Every action a child takes communicates something. Sometimes they are tired, sometimes they feel unseen or powerless. Sometimes they just want to know where the boundary really is. Connection is the foundation of discipline. When children feel loved, respected, and understood, they begin to regulate themselves because they care about the relationship. They want to do well for someone who treats them with kindness. To build connection during discipline. Speak calmly and clearly, even when correcting. Get on your child's level physically and emotionally. Offer empathy before instruction. Be consistent but gentle. End conflict with reconnection, not withdrawal. A calm parent's voice can teach more than 1,000 lectures. Children may not remember your exact words, but they will remember how your tone made them feel. Modeling what discipline looks like. Children do not learn self-control by being controlled. They learn it by observing it. When you speak calmly while setting limits, you show your child how to handle frustration. When you follow through on a boundary without yelling, you show them how to hold firm with grace. Your behavior becomes their model. Every moment you regulate yourself, you are teaching your child how to do the same. If you lose patience, you can still model repair. You can say, "I got angry and that was not fair to you. I am sorry. I am going to take a breath and try again." That simple act of honesty teaches accountability far more powerfully than any punishment could. Children who see their parents apologize learn that mistakes do not erase love. They learn that repair is always possible. Practical examples of teaching discipline. If your child refuses to clean up their toys, instead of shouting, try this. "I see that you don't want to stop playing. It is hard when we have to stop having fun, but we always clean up before bed. Let's do it together for 5 minutes, and then we can read your favorite story." This approach does not remove structure. It adds empathy. It says, "I understand your feelings, but the rule stays the same." It turns resistance into cooperation through connection. If your teenager talks back, avoid taking it personally. Teenagers test independence by challenging authority. Instead of saying, "Do not talk to me like that," you might say, "You sound upset. I want to understand what is bothering you, but I need you to speak respectfully." You are still holding the boundary, but you are also inviting conversation. That combination builds trust instead of walls. The long-term view. The goal of discipline is not short-term obedience. It is long-term self-control. We are not just teaching our children to listen to us. We are teaching them to listen to their own inner voice, the one that says, "I want to do what is right." The lessons we teach through patience and connection will outlast us. A child who learns through love will become an adult who leads with compassion. Discipline is not about getting through today's behavior. It is about building the foundation for tomorrow's character. When we guide with love, patience, and consistency, our children grow into strong, kind, and confident human beings. That is the true purpose of discipline. Chapter 2. Why control fails. Control can feel comforting to a parent. It gives the illusion of safety, of order, of being in charge when everything feels uncertain. Many of us grew up believing that a strong parent must always be in control. We were told that children need to be kept in line, that authority keeps them safe, and that firm hands build good character. But control does not create cooperation. It creates fear. It teaches a child to follow rules only when someone is watching. It teaches compliance, not understanding. True discipline is not control, it is connection. The illusion of control. When a parent demands absolute control, the home becomes a battlefield. Each day turns into a power struggle between an adult trying to be obeyed and a child fighting to be seen. In those moments, nobody wins. The parent feels disrespected, the child feels misunderstood, and both feel disconnected. The truth is that control is fragile. It works only as long as the child is smaller, quieter, and dependent. As soon as they grow, that control cracks. A child who has been trained to obey out of fear learns rebellion instead of self-control. When a child feels constantly monitored, they stop thinking for themselves. They start to ask, "What do you want me to do?" instead of "What is the right thing to do?" That is not the kind of discipline that builds maturity. It is the kind that builds anxiety. Control looks like yelling or threatening when a child misbehaves, taking away privileges to make a point, ignoring emotions and focusing only on behavior, believing that strictness equals strength. But strength is not loud, it is calm. Strength is not control, it is consistency, even when emotions are high. Why control breaks connection? Children need to feel safe to learn. They cannot absorb lessons when they are afraid. Fear activates the body's stress response. The heart beats faster, the brain focuses on survival, and reasoning shuts down. A child who is afraid of being yelled at or punished cannot reflect on their choices. They can only try to avoid the next explosion. This is why control always backfires. It stops behavior for a moment, but it also shuts off communication. When children fear our reactions, they stop coming to us with their problems. They begin to hide, lie, or withdraw. And the very relationship that was meant to guide them becomes a wall instead of a bridge. Connection, not control, is what allows children to truly grow. When they feel safe, they open up, they listen, they learn. The root of the need for control. Most parents who struggle with control are not bad parents. They are simply scared. Control comes from fear that if we loosen our grip, everything will fall apart. We fear that our children will grow wild or disrespectful. We fear judgment from others. We fear failing them. Those fears are valid. Parenting is full of uncertainty, but control is a false safety net. It may make you feel powerful for a moment, but it erodes trust in the long run. Children do not need perfection. They need presence. They need to know that their parent can stay steady even when they cannot. Control reacts with fear. Compassion responds with patience. When you feel that urge to tighten your grip, pause and ask, "What am I afraid of right now?" Naming your fear softens it. From there, you can respond with intention instead of reactivity, the difference between control and guidance. It helps to see how differently these two forces work. Control says, "Do what I say." Guidance says, "Let me show you how." Control says, "Because I said so." Guidance says, "Here is why this matters." Control punishes mistakes. Guidance teaches how to make things right. Control seeks obedience. Guidance seeks understanding. Children guided through calm conversation learn that boundaries exist for safety, not for power. They learn that authority can be loving, not frightening. Building respect without fear. Some parents worry that giving up control means losing respect. But respect built on fear disappears the moment fear fades. True respect is earned through kindness and consistency. A respectful home is not one without rules. It is one where rules make sense and are enforced with calm fairness. It is one where children understand the reason behind limits and trust that those limits are for their protection, not to assert power. To build respect through connection. Explain expectations clearly and simply. Stay calm when enforcing consequences. Avoid threats or ultimatums. Praise honesty even when the truth is difficult. Let your child see that rules come from love, not anger. A child who feels respected learns to respect others. They begin to internalize values rather than fear consequences. A real-life example. Imagine your child has refused to do homework for the third night in a row. A controlling reaction might be to yell, "Do it now, or you lose your screen time for a week." The child obeys, but out of resentment or fear. The lesson learned is not about responsibility, but about power. A guiding response sounds different. You might say, "It seems like homework has been hard lately. Tell me what is making it difficult. Let's figure out how to make it easier to get started." You are not removing the responsibility, but you are approaching it as a partner rather than a warden. You are showing that discipline can come with empathy. In the first example, the child learns compliance. In the second, they learn problem solving. That is the heart of compassionate discipline. Letting go of the illusion. Letting go of control does not mean becoming permissive. It means understanding that children learn best through relationship, not fear. It means creating space for mistakes and recovery. When we focus on control, we end up micromanaging. We remind, repeat, and threaten. When we focus on connection, we listen, guide, and empower. One approach drains energy. The other builds confidence. Control says, "I am in charge." Connection says, "We are in this together." You can be firm without being harsh. You can set limits without breaking trust. You can teach accountability through presence instead of punishment. When control turns into conflict, sometimes control becomes a pattern. You might find yourself arguing over every small thing. Getting dressed, brushing teeth, eating meals, bedtime. The more you try to control, the more your child resists. It is a tug of war neither of you can win. The way out of that cycle is not more control. It is more empathy. Try stepping back, lower your tone. Acknowledge their frustration. You can say, "I know this is hard right now. Let's take a break and come back to it." You are still setting limits, but you are removing shame and fear from the process. That is where growth begins. The real power in parenting. The real power in parenting comes not from being in control, but from being calm, consistent, and connected. Your authority does not depend on your volume or on threats. It depends on your ability to stay grounded when your child cannot. Children are naturally drawn to calm leadership. When they see that you will not break, even when they do, they learn that safety lives within the relationship. They begin to listen, not because they are afraid, but because they trust. Control may feel strong, but it is temporary. Connection feels gentle, but it lasts a lifetime. The most powerful kind of discipline is the one that keeps the heart intact while guiding the behavior. That is the kind that builds not just obedience, but character. Chapter 3. Building trust first. Before discipline can work, there must be trust. Trust is the foundation beneath every boundary, every rule, and every teaching moment. Without trust, even the most thoughtful parenting strategies fall apart. A child who does not trust you will resist your guidance, even when you are right. A child who does trust you will listen, even when they disagree. That is the quiet power of a relationship built on safety and respect. Trust is not automatic. It is earned through repetition, honesty, and presence. It is the slow and steady message that says, "You can rely on me." Why trust matters more than rules. Many parents put effort into creating structure, routines, and discipline systems, believing that organization alone creates security. But a home filled with structure is not necessarily a home filled with safety. A child can live in a household with perfectly enforced rules, yet still feel anxious, unseen, or afraid. What children truly need is not constant correction, but consistent connection. When a child feels secure in your love, they become open to learning. Their body relaxes. Their mind begins to listen. A child who feels safe does not need to fight for power because they already have what every human needs most: belonging. Trust allows a child to believe that limits come from love, not control. It allows them to feel guided instead of dominated. Consistency builds safety. Children thrive on predictability. They feel calmer when they know what will happen next and how their parents will respond. That sense of predictability is what builds safety in their nervous system. When parents respond calmly, follow through on promises, and remain emotionally steady, children learn that the world is not unpredictable or frightening. They begin to regulate themselves because they are not living in constant alert. Consistency does not mean being perfect. It means being reliable. It means that when you say no, you mean it, and when you make a promise, you do your best to keep it. It means handling discipline in a way that your child count on. Even small consistencies matter. Saying goodnight the same way, greeting them each morning, or listening when they talk about something that feels unimportant to you, all build the foundation of trust. Children are always noticing. When they see that you keep your word again and again, they begin to relax into your care. Honesty builds connection. Children can feel when something is not true. They sense it in tone, in silence, in hesitation. When we pretend everything is fine while feeling frustrated or sad, they notice. When we make promises we cannot keep, they feel that letdown more deeply than we realize. Honesty builds credibility. It says, you can trust what I say. If you make a promise and plans change, be direct. You can say, I told you we would go to the park today, but it started to rain. I know that is disappointing. We will go another day. Small truths like that matter. They show that your words are safe to believe. Apologies are another form of honesty that builds trust. Many parents fear that apologizing shows weakness, but in reality, it shows strength. When you say, I lost my patience earlier and I should not have yelled, I am sorry, you are teaching responsibility and humility. You are showing your child that mistakes are not shameful, that love continues even after conflict, and that repair is always possible. Listening builds respect. Listening is the heart of connection. When your child speaks and you stop to truly hear them, you are giving them one of the most powerful messages a human being can receive. Your voice matters. Listening does not mean agreeing with everything your child says. It means giving them space to express themselves without judgment or interruption. It means trying to understand their point of view before you respond. When a child feels heard, their need to argue or resist often softens. Much of what looks like defiance is really a child saying, you are not hearing me. Try phrases like, I can see that you are upset. That must have been hard for you. I understand that you wanted it to go differently. These words do not excuse behavior, but they calm emotions. Once a child feels understood, they are more open to guidance. Children who grow up feeling heard also learn to listen in return. They develop empathy and patience, not because they were told to, but because they saw it modeled every day. Repair keeps the relationship strong. Every parent loses patience. Every parent makes mistakes. What separates healthy relationships from hurt ones is not perfection, but repair. Repair means coming back together after conflict and showing that love is stronger than anger. It means saying, I still love you, we can fix this. Children need to see that relationships can bend without breaking. That lesson gives them courage and resilience in every relationship they will ever have. If you shouted, admit it. If you overreacted, explain calmly what happened and how you will do better next time. This does not erase the moment, but it teaches your child that honesty can heal it. Each time you repair, you are rebuilding trust brick by brick. You are proving that even when things go wrong, love is still safe. How trust makes discipline easier. When your child trusts you, they will begin to respond differently to discipline. You will not need to repeat yourself as often or raise your voice as much. They will understand that your boundaries come from care, not anger. Turns discipline into teamwork. Instead of an us versus dynamic, you begin to operate as partners in problem solving. For example, instead of saying, you need to stop yelling right now, you can say, we both sound upset. Let's take a break and try again. The message is the same, stop the yelling, but the tone changes everything. You are inviting cooperation, not demanding submission. Children who trust their parents want to make things right. They care about maintaining the bond. That is why trust is more powerful than any consequence. Rebuilding trust when it is broken. No family keeps trust perfectly intact. Life happens. There will be angry moments, broken promises, or misunderstandings. What matters most is how you rebuild. If trust has been damaged, begin small. Keep simple promises. Stay calm in moments when you might once have yelled. Spend extra time together doing things that are light and positive. You do not need to talk about rebuilding trust constantly. You need to live it quietly and consistently. Over time, your child will feel the difference. Trust does not grow in big, dramatic moments. It grows in the small, ordinary ones. When you stay patient, when you listen instead of reacting, when you follow through one more time. The lasting gift of trust. Trust teaches children that love is stable. It shows them that relationships are a place of safety, not judgment. It teaches them that honesty is always safer than secrecy. When your child trusts you, they will bring their fears, mistakes, and questions to you instead of hiding them. They will not fear punishment. They will seek your guidance. That is when parenting becomes less about control and more about influence. It is when you move from being a rule enforcer to being a trusted guide. Discipline without trust feels like control. Trust without discipline feels like chaos. Together, they create balance, stability, and peace. Every moment of honesty, every calm response, every repaired conflict builds trust. It is a quiet kind of work, but it is the kind that changes lives. When you choose to build trust first, you are teaching your child not only how to behave, but how to love. Chapter 4: Calm Boundaries. Boundaries are an act of love. They teach children where safety begins and where chaos ends. Without boundaries, children feel lost. With harsh boundaries, they feel controlled. But calm boundaries create a sense of structure, peace, and trust. A boundary is not a punishment, it is a guidepost. It says, here is what keeps you safe, and here is how we live together with respect. Calm boundaries help children learn that rules exist not to control them, but to protect them. They also help parents remain grounded, patient, and consistent. Boundaries are what hold the family steady when emotions run high. Why children need boundaries. Many parents feel torn between being gentle and being firm. They fear that if they set rules, they will seem strict, or if they say no, they will hurt their child's feelings. But children who grow up without limits do not feel free. They feel anxious. Boundaries create emotional safety. When a child knows what to expect, they do not need to constantly test or push. Their nervous system relaxes. They learn that their world is predictable and that their parent is in charge of keeping it that way. A child without clear boundaries must figure out everything on their own. They may act out, not because they want to misbehave, but because they are searching for the edges. They are asking, who is in charge here? Is someone going to keep me safe? Setting firm, loving limits answers that question for them. It says, yes, I am here, you can rest. The difference between boundaries and control may look similar from the outside, but they feel completely different from the inside. Control demands obedience. It uses fear to force compliance. Boundaries invite cooperation. They use calm strength to guide behavior. Control says, do what I say. Boundaries say, here is what is safe, and here is what is not. When parents use control, children learn to resist. When parents use boundaries, children learn to respect. A controlling parent might say, stop crying right now, or you are going to your room. A parent with calm boundaries might say, you can cry, but you may not yell at me. If you need space to calm down, I will wait with you until you are ready. One response creates fear and distance. The other teaches respect and regulation. Boundaries begin with self-control. You cannot set calm boundaries if you are not calm yourself. Children learn emotional regulation by watching how we manage our own emotions. If you yell, they learn to yell. If you stay steady, they learn steadiness. Before enforcing a rule, pause, take a breath. Ask yourself, what is my goal right now? Do I want to teach or do I want to release frustration? When you are calm, your message carries more weight. Your child feels your confidence. You do not need to raise your voice when your presence already feels strong and safe. Calm boundaries are firm but kind. They are predictable, not reactive. They say, I love you enough to keep you safe, even when you are upset with me. Be clear and simple. Children respond best to clear, direct communication. Long explanations or emotional lectures often confuse them. A calm, short sentence spoken kindly is more effective than 10 minutes of talking. You can say, it is time to turn off the tablet now. If your child argues, respond calmly. I understand you want more time, but screen time is over. Repeating the rule without frustration teaches consistency. Children test limits because they want to know if the rules hold firm. Every time you stay calm and hold your ground, you are showing them that boundaries are real and reliable. Clarity also prevents misunderstandings. Make sure your child knows what the rule is before enforcing it. Avoid surprise punishments or sudden changes. Predictability creates safety. Boundaries with empathy. Empathy and firmness can exist together. You can be kind without giving in. You can hold a line without being cold. Empathy turns correction into connection. It teaches that emotions are valid, even when behaviors are not acceptable. You might say, I know you do not want to clean up right now. It is hard to stop playing. I will help you start, and then you can finish on your own. You are not ignoring the rule. You are guiding through understanding. The message becomes, I see you, and I will help you succeed. Empathy softens resistance because it makes the child feel safe. Children who feel understood are more willing to cooperate. Follow through without anger boundaries mean nothing without follow through. If you set a limit but never keep it, your child learns that rules are flexible depending on your mood. That creates confusion and anxiety. Follow through must be calm, not emotional. The moment you attach anger or guilt to a consequence, you turn discipline into punishment. For example, if you tell your child that the tablet will go away if they throw it, follow through if it happens. You can say, "The tablet will be put away for now. I will give it back when we can use it safely." You do not need to scold. The action speaks for itself. When you stay calm and consistent, the lesson is clear and respectful. Children learn to respect boundaries, not because they fear consequences, but because they understand that you mean what you say. Repairing when boundaries are broken. Every parent will lose their patience sometimes. You may yell or give a consequence that feels unfair. What matters most is how you repair afterward. You can say, "I was upset and I reacted too strongly. I am sorry. The rule still stands, but I want to handle it more calmly next time." This teaches accountability and compassion at the same time. It shows that love continues even after mistakes. It also models how to take responsibility and try again, which is one of the most valuable lessons you can give. Children learn more from how you recover than from how you react. Each repair strengthens trust and makes the next moment of discipline easier. Boundaries in everyday life. Calm boundaries show up in small, everyday moments. When your toddler refuses to brush their teeth, stay close and calm. You can say, "You do not have to like it, but it still needs to be done. I will help you." When your teenager misses curfew, do not yell. Instead, say, "You are home safe and I am relieved. We will talk about this tomorrow when we are both calm." Then the next day, calmly discuss how to rebuild responsibility. In both situations, the boundary remains, but the tone stays loving. The goal is not to control behavior through fear, but to teach self-discipline through respect. When boundaries bring peace. When calm boundaries become consistent, your home begins to feel different. There is less chaos, fewer power struggles, and more cooperation. Children begin to understand that structure brings freedom. Boundaries create space for trust to grow. They give your child permission to be themselves within safe limits. They also give you, the parent, space to breathe. You do not need to constantly remind, negotiate, or argue. The rules speak for themselves. Your calm confidence becomes the steady rhythm your child depends on. Boundaries are not walls. They are doors that open and close with love. They teach respect for others and for oneself. They prepare children for a world that will have rules, expectations, and responsibilities. Calm boundaries teach that love and limits can exist side by side. They show that authority can be kind. And most of all, they remind your child that even when you say no, your love never wavers. Chapter 5. Daily Habits that Teach Discipline. Children do not become self-disciplined through lectures or rules alone. They learn discipline by watching, doing, and repeating. The small daily habits that fill a home are what teach a child consistency, responsibility, and pride in their actions. Discipline is not something we apply to children. It is something we build with them. When routines are calm, predictable, and meaningful, they create a rhythm that makes life easier for everyone. Why habits matter more than consequences. Many parents focus on correcting behavior after it happens, but real growth happens before the mistake. Habits give children structure to fall back on when emotions are high. A consistent bedtime, daily chores, or family rituals all teach that life has order and that effort has meaning. Consequences may stop a behavior in the moment, but habits shape identity. A child who learns to clean up after playing, to say thank you, or to start homework before dinner begins, to see themselves as responsible. They begin to take pride in small accomplishments. The goal is not perfection, it is progress. A child who learns to try again after forgetting, who learns to finish what they start, is learning discipline in the most natural way possible. Start small and stay consistent. Discipline is not built in a day. It is built one moment at a time through simple routines. When you introduce a new habit, make it small enough to succeed. If you want your child to make their bed every morning, begin by doing it together. Praise the effort, not the result. Over time, let them take the lead. When you want your child to read each night, keep the goal realistic. 10 minutes before bed is better than forcing an hour they will come to dread. The key is repetition, not intensity. Doing something consistently for weeks teaches more than doing it perfectly once. Model the habits you want to see. Children learn more from what we do than what we say. If you want your child to practice discipline, show them what it looks like in your own life. When they see you finish what you start, speak kindly under stress, or clean up after yourself, they are absorbing those lessons. You can say, "I am tired, but I still need to fold the laundry because it feels good to finish things." You can let them see you pause to take a breath when you are upset. You can show them that self-control is possible. When they witness your patience and persistence, they begin to mirror it. The most powerful lessons happen quietly in daily life. Create a home of predictability. Children thrive on knowing what comes next. Predictable routines teach time management, responsibility, and security. A morning routine might include brushing teeth, getting dressed, making the bed, and eating breakfast. A simple chart or checklist can make this process fun and empowering. Evening routines are just as valuable. Reading together, tidying toys, or reflecting on the day teaches closure and peace. Predictability does not make life rigid. It makes it stable. It helps children feel capable because they know what is expected. When life gets chaotic, these routines become anchors. They remind everyone that even in stressful times, there are things that remain steady. Teaching through participation. Children need to feel that they are part of the team. Discipline grows stronger when they share responsibility. Invite them to help with real tasks. Cooking, folding laundry, or watering plants can all teach focus, patience, and follow-through. Start with simple directions. Can you hand me the spoon? Or let's match the socks together. Praise effort along the way. When children contribute to daily life, they gain confidence. They learn that work is part of belonging. They see that their effort matters. Use encouragement, not bribes. It is tempting to reward good behavior with treats or toys, but lasting discipline grows from internal motivation, not external rewards. Instead of saying, "If you do your chores, you will get candy," try, "When we all do our chores, the house feels nice and we can relax together." This shifts the focus from getting something to feeling something. It helps children connect actions to natural rewards like pride, peace, and connection. You can also use simple encouragement. "I noticed how you remembered to pack your backpack without being told. That shows responsibility." Specific praise teaches that effort is valued. Over time, your child will begin to take pride in doing things well, even when no one is watching. Create time for practice. Self-discipline takes practice, just like learning to play an instrument or ride a bike. Children need opportunities to make mistakes safely. If you want your child to manage their time, give them choices. Do you want to do homework before dinner or after? Both options lead to the same outcome, but give them ownership. If they forget, let natural consequences teach the lesson. Missing a favorite show because homework is late is more powerful than a lecture. The goal is to guide, not rescue. Each mistake becomes a lesson in responsibility. Celebrate effort, not just success. Many children believe that success is what earns love. Discipline taught through compassion shows them that effort matters more than perfection. Celebrate the process. You tried again even when it was hard. You kept your cool when your sister took your toy. These small recognitions teach persistence. Effort-based praise builds resilience. It teaches children that progress is what matters, that every step forward counts. When they learn that mistakes are not the end, they become brave enough to keep trying. That courage is the root of self-discipline. Build moments of calm into each day. A disciplined mind is a regulated mind. Children cannot stay focused or kind when they are constantly overstimulated. Build small moments of calm into the daily rhythm. This might look like reading quietly together after school, going for a short walk, or simply sitting in silence before bedtime. Calm moments teach children to slow down, breathe, and notice their feelings. These practices will serve them their whole lives. When your child learns to pause before reacting, to take a breath before speaking, they are learning emotional discipline in its purest form. Discipline as a family culture. When everyone in the home participates in healthy habits, discipline becomes part of the family culture. It no longer feels forced or unfair. It feels natural. You can hold a short family meeting once a week to talk about what is working and what feels hard. Allow children to share their thoughts. Listening shows that their opinions matter and builds cooperation. When children help shape routines, they are more likely to follow them. They feel respected, not controlled. What daily habits teach? Daily habits teach children that responsibility is love in action. They show that discipline is not about control, but about care for oneself and others. When your child learns to finish their tasks, to rest when tired, and to keep trying when discouraged, they are learning the skills of adulthood. These small, repeated lessons create the foundation for strength, empathy, and resilience. Every morning routine, every cleanup, every calm conversation is shaping your child's understanding of what it means to live with purpose and integrity. You are not just teaching habits, you are building character. Chapter 6: Healthy Eating and Lifestyle Habits That Last. Food is one of the first ways we nurture our children. It connects love, comfort, and health. Yet for many families, meals become a daily source of stress, power struggles, or guilt. We worry about sugar, fast food, and picky eating. We feel pressure to make perfect meals while juggling busy lives. Healthy eating is not about perfection or strict rules. It is about creating an environment where food feels safe, balanced, and joyful. Children learn lifelong habits through the example we set and the relationship we help them build with their own bodies. It is never too early or too late to start teaching a child how to care for themselves through food and movement. The emotional side of eating. Children learn about food long before they take their first bite. They notice our moods at the table, our language about our own bodies, and the way we react when they refuse a meal. If food is connected to pressure, shame, or stress, those emotions become part of eating. When we make food a calm and predictable part of daily life, it builds security. Meals should be times of connection, not conflict. The dinner table can be a place of conversation, laughter, and slowing down together. If your child resists eating certain foods, avoid turning it into a battle. Offer the same food several times over weeks in small portions. Children often need to see a new food many times before they try it. You can say, "You do not have to eat it, but it will be here if you want to try." This removes pressure and teaches autonomy. Over time, trust grows and curiosity replaces resistance. Modeling a balanced relationship with food. Children watch how we talk about food and our bodies. When we say, "I should not eat that, it will make me fat," they learn to associate food with guilt. When we say, "This makes me feel good and gives me energy," they learn to connect food with nourishment and strength. Try to keep your language around food neutral and positive. Replace good or bad food labels with everyday foods and sometimes foods. Both have a place in a healthy diet. Let your child see you enjoy eating. Sit down with them when possible, even for a few minutes. When meals are shared experiences, children feel that eating is part of belonging. Your relationship with food becomes their foundation for how they will care for themselves in the future. Building healthy habits. Early start with simple routines that make healthy choices part of daily life. You can keep fruits and vegetables visible and easy to grab. Involve your child in cooking or meal planning. Offer water first when they are thirsty. Make family meals a priority whenever possible. Keep snacks balanced and portioned rather than restrictive. Consistency is what builds habits. A child who helps stir vegetables, wash fruit, or set the table learns that food preparation is part of caring for the family. Even toddlers can participate by choosing between two healthy options, such as apples or grapes. These small decisions give them a sense of control and teach responsibility. Avoiding power struggles. Food battles often come from both parent and child wanting control. Parents want their child to eat well. Children want independence. To avoid conflict, decide what, when, and where food will be offered, and allow your child to decide whether and how much to eat. This approach is known as the division of responsibility. When you remove pressure, you remove resistance. Over time, children learn to listen to their own hunger and fullness cues. This builds self-awareness and prevents emotional eating later in life. If your child refuses a meal, stay calm. Avoid making new food immediately. Offer nutritious choices at the next snack or meal and keep a consistent schedule. Children rarely starve themselves when healthy food is regularly available, making movement joyful. Healthy living is not just about food, it is also about movement, rest, and joy. Physical activity should never feel like punishment. It should feel like freedom. Encourage movement through play. Dancing, biking, swimming, or even taking a walk together after dinner all count. Children who associate movement with fun are more likely to stay active as they grow. Model this joy. Let them see you move because it feels good, not because you are trying to change your body. Say, "My body feels stronger when I stretch," or "It feels nice to get fresh air." When movement is tied to pleasure instead of appearance, children learn to value their bodies for what they can do, not how they look. Rest and rhythm. A healthy lifestyle also includes rest. Many behavioral and emotional challenges stem from fatigue, not defiance. Sleep allows both brain and body to recover. Create calm bedtime rituals. Turn off screens early, dim lights, and use quiet activities like reading or gentle music. Children who sleep well are more able to regulate emotions, focus, and make thoughtful choices. You can also teach relaxation during the day. Deep breathing, stretching, or short breaks after school can help your child unwind and reset. Healthy habits are not about doing more, but about doing less with intention. Healing a child's relationship with food. If food has already become a battleground in your home, you can start fresh. Children forgive quickly when the environment changes. You can begin by slowing down meals. Sit with your child and talk about the day. Avoid commenting on how much or how little they eat. Focus instead on connection. Let go of old habits of bribing or forcing. Avoid saying, "Just 3 more bites." Instead, say, "Listen to your body. Are you still hungry?" By helping your child tune into their natural hunger cues, you are teaching them self-regulation, which is the heart of discipline. Never too late to start. Many parents feel regret if they have used food as a reward, yelled about eating, or modeled unhealthy habits. But guilt changes nothing. What heals is awareness. You can start again today. Children adapt quickly. When they see new patterns, they respond with curiosity. Each new meal is an opportunity to build trust and to show that food can be simple, loving, and safe. You can involve older children or teens in the process. Let them choose recipes or prepare meals with you. The goal is not perfection, but participation. Healthy habits for life. Healthy habits are not about strict diets or control. They are about teaching respect for the body and gratitude for what it can do. They are about teaching balance, not restriction. When your child grows up in a home where food and movement are linked with love and self-care, they carry those lessons into adulthood. They learn that nourishment is not only about what we eat, but how we treat ourselves. They learn that eating well and resting well are acts of kindness toward the body that carries them through life. A family culture of wellness. When healthy habits become part of the family culture, everyone benefits. There is less pressure, fewer battles, and more connection. Meals become shared experiences. Movement becomes play. Rest becomes a valued part of the day. Health becomes something you live, not something you force. Your child will remember the feeling of sitting together, of being included, and of knowing that food and care were part of love. These moments become the quiet foundation of lifelong wellness. What you model matters far more than what you say. When you live with compassion toward your own body, your child learns to do the same. This is how discipline turns into love in action through small daily habits that nourish both the body and the heart. Chapter 7. Discipline through the teenage years. The teenage years are a bridge between childhood and adulthood. They are a time of intense growth, independence, and discovery. They can also be confusing and emotional for both parent and child. The same child who once needed help tying their shoes now challenges every rule and questions every word you say. This shift is natural. It is part of how the brain develops. Teenagers are learning to think critically, to make decisions, and to form their own identity. The goal of parenting during these years is not to control them, but to guide them safely toward adulthood, letting go of control and holding on to connection. When children become teenagers, parents often panic. The stakes feel higher, and the risks seem greater. It can be tempting to tighten control, to monitor every action, and to try to prevent mistakes. But the truth is that control weakens the bond. It teaches secrecy instead of honesty. When teenagers feel constantly watched or doubted, they begin to hide their lives. What protects them is not control, but connection. Connection means keeping communication open even when you disagree. It means listening more than correcting. It means remembering that trust takes time, especially during these years when emotions are strong and mistakes are frequent. If your teenager withdraws, stay near without pressure. You can say, "I am here if you want to talk." When they do come to you, listen without interrupting. They will remember your calm more than your words. Understanding the teenage brain. Teenagers are not rebellious for no reason. Their brains are still developing, especially in areas that control decision-making and impulse regulation. This means they feel emotions more intensely but may not yet have the tools to manage them. This is why they take risks, test boundaries, and sometimes act without thinking. It is not defiance as much as it is immaturity. Your job is to be the steady hand that guides them while they learn to steer. When you understand that their behavior comes from development, not disrespect, it becomes easier to stay calm. Instead of asking, "What is wrong with you?" you can ask, "What is happening for you right now?" Respect builds respect. Teenagers crave respect. They want to be treated as capable and independent, even when they are still learning. When parents talk down to them or dismiss their feelings, they shut down. Respect does not mean agreeing with everything they say. It means taking their perspective seriously. You can say, "I understand that you want more freedom. Let's talk about how we can make that work safely." When they see that you are willing to hear them out, they are more likely to listen in return. Respect also means setting boundaries calmly. You can say, "I care about your safety, so there are certain things I cannot allow." The tone matters more than the rule. A calm explanation builds trust, while harshness builds resistance. Consistency. Without harshness, teenagers need clear boundaries just as much as young children do, but the way you enforce them must evolve. Consequences should make sense and be related to the behavior. For example, if your teen breaks curfew, the consequence might be staying home the next evening to rebuild trust. If they misuse a phone, you might remove the privilege temporarily and talk about responsible use. Avoid punishments that are extreme or unpredictable. These create resentment, not reflection. The goal is to teach, not to dominate. Consistency tells your teenager that you mean what you say, but calmness tells them they can still trust you when things go wrong. Encouraging responsibility. Teenagers are learning to manage their time, their choices, and their emotions. Let them practice. Give them space to make decisions and to experience the results. Instead of saving them from every mistake, stay close and help them process the outcome. You can ask, "What do you think you might do differently next time?" This turns mistakes into lessons. Encourage responsibility by giving them meaningful roles at home. Let them manage their own laundry, meals, or part of the family schedule. These tasks teach accountability and independence. When they do well, acknowledge it. "I noticed you came home on time without a reminder." That shows responsibility. Recognition builds motivation, keeping communication open. Teenagers may act like they do not care about your opinion, but they still crave your approval. They may roll their eyes, but they are listening more than they admit. Keep communication open by talking about everyday things, not just rules or problems. Ask about music, friends, or their interests. These small conversations build comfort for when the harder topics come. Try to listen without judgment, even if you disagree. When you react calmly, they learn that honesty is safe. If you need to correct them, keep it brief and kind. Long lectures rarely work. A simple statement like, "That choice worried me, let's talk about it," opens dialogue without shame. Teaching emotional regulation. Teenagers often struggle with big emotions. They may seem moody or distant, but what they need most is modeling. Show them how you calm yourself. When you are upset, say, "I need a minute to cool off before we talk." When they see you do this, they learn that it is okay to take space instead of exploding. You can also teach coping tools. Deep breathing, journaling, listening to music, or physical activity can help regulate emotions. Encourage them to find what works for them. If they say something hurtful, remember that it often comes from frustration, not cruelty. Stay steady. Respond with, "I hear that you are angry. Let's talk when we are both calmer." Protecting trust. Trust is fragile during the teenage years. It can be broken easily, but rebuilt with time and honesty. If your teenager lies, avoid immediate punishment. Instead, focus on understanding why. Many teens lie because they fear overreaction. You can say, "I need honesty more than perfection. Let's start again." Show that truth brings understanding, not anger. This teaches that honesty is safer than secrecy. At the same time, let them earn freedom through responsibility. When they show reliability, increase their independence gradually. Trust grows through experience. When conflict happens. Conflict is inevitable. What matters is how you handle it. When tempers rise, lower your voice instead of raising it. Walk away if needed and return when calm. This teaches emotional maturity more than any lecture could. After conflict, always reconnect. Say, "I love you even when we argue. I still want us to work through this together." Reconnection teaches that love does not disappear in disagreement. The long view. Parenting teenagers can feel like walking a tightrope between letting go and holding on. Some days will feel like progress, and others will feel like starting over. Remember that your role is changing, not ending. You are becoming a guide instead of a manager. The goal is not to raise a compliant child, but to raise a capable adult. When you look back, what will matter most is not the arguments or the curfews. It will be the relationship that remained strong through it all. If you stay connected, your teenager will come back to you again and again for advice, comfort, and support. They may not say it now, but your calm presence becomes their anchor in the storm of growing up. Chapter 8: Education and Advocacy. Teaching compassion beyond the home. Every parent is an advocate, whether they realize it or not. From the first day of school, every note to a teacher, every meeting, and every conversation about your child's needs is a form of advocacy. Advocacy is not about fighting against the world. It is about standing beside your child with clarity, knowledge, and love. It is about helping others see your child's strengths and understanding their challenges. When we teach compassion and cooperation beyond the home, we prepare our children to live in a world that does not always understand them. We show them that kindness and persistence can create change. Education as a partnership. A healthy education experience begins with a partnership between the parent, the child, and the school. Teachers and staff are not your enemies. They are potential allies who care deeply about helping children grow. When you approach school relationships with respect and openness, it sets the tone for how your child will experience learning. Start each year by introducing yourself and your child to the teacher. Share information about what helps your child thrive, but keep it short and positive. For example, you might write, "My child learns best with clear expectations and gentle reminders." This tells the teacher what works without overwhelming them. When problems arise, address them early. Do not wait for frustration to build. Send a calm email or request a meeting to talk. When you communicate with respect, teachers are more likely to respond with empathy. Your child benefits most when home and school feel connected, not divided. Teaching your child to self-advocate. One of the greatest gifts you can give your child is the ability to speak up for themselves. Advocacy is not just a skill for adults. It begins when children learn to identify what they need and to express it respectfully. Start small. Encourage your child to order their own food at a restaurant or to ask a teacher for help when confused. Praise their courage when they do. Teach them to use I statements, such as, "I need more time to finish my work," or "I learn better when I can move around." These phrases help them take ownership of their needs without blame. As they grow, include them in conversations with teachers or doctors. Let them hear you speak calmly about their strengths and challenges. Over time, they will learn to use that same language for themselves. Navigating school challenges. School can bring many challenges, from learning differences to social struggles. Your role is to stay involved without taking over. If your child is struggling academically, stay calm and gather information. Ask the teacher what they are observing. Keep communication open and solution-focused. If a learning plan or accommodation is needed, remember that these tools exist to help, not to label. A child who receives extra support is not weak. They are learning in a way that matches their brain. If your child faces bullying or exclusion, take it seriously. Listen to their feelings first before reacting. Then involve the school promptly. Keep records of what happens and who you speak with. Follow up respectfully but firmly. Children learn from how you handle these situations. When they see you stay calm and stand strong, they learn self-respect and courage. Modeling respect for educators. Even when school systems are imperfect, teachers are often working under great pressure. Speaking to them with respect builds bridges instead of barriers. You can disagree without hostility. Instead of saying, "You are not doing enough," try, "I am concerned about this situation and want to work together on a solution." Your child learns how to handle authority by watching how you handle it. When you treat educators as partners, your child learns that respect and collaboration can create progress. Creating a positive relationship with learning discipline is not only about behavior, it is also about helping children take responsibility for their learning. When children see education as something done to them, they resist. When they see it as something done with them, they engage. Help your child see learning as meaningful. Talk about curiosity, creativity, and discovery. Ask what they liked about school each day instead of focusing only on grades or performance. If they struggle with a subject, focus on effort rather than results. Say, "I noticed you tried again, even when it was hard." That shows perseverance. When learning is connected to joy and effort, it becomes a lifelong habit. Compassion in the classroom. Compassion does not stop at home. Encourage your child to look out for classmates who feel left out, to share materials, or to offer a kind word. Small acts of kindness teach empathy far better than lectures ever could. You can model this by talking kindly about teachers and other students at home. Avoid criticism that makes your child view school as an adversarial place. Instead, frame problems as opportunities for understanding and growth. Children who see compassion modeled will bring it into every space they enter. When the system fails, there will be times when advocacy feels exhausting. Systems are not always fair, and not every professional will listen. When this happens, remember that persistence matters. Stay calm, take notes, and keep advocating respectfully. Bring a friend or relative to meetings if it helps you feel supported. If necessary, learn about your rights through local education agencies or advocacy groups. Your calm determination teaches your child more than frustration ever could. They will learn that strength can be quiet, and that standing up for what is right does not require shouting. Balancing advocacy and acceptance. There is a balance between helping your child grow and accepting who they already are. Advocacy is not about fixing your child. It is about giving them the tools to thrive as themselves. Celebrate what makes them unique. Focus on progress rather than perfection. Remind them that school is only one part of life, not the definition of their worth. When children know they are valued for who they are, they approach learning with more confidence and curiosity. Preparing for life beyond school. The lessons of advocacy go far beyond the classroom. When your child learns how to speak up, stay calm, and seek help when needed, they are learning life skills that will carry them into adulthood. You are not only preparing them for school success, you are preparing them for relationships, workplaces, and communities that require communication and empathy. The goal is not to raise a child who never faces challenges, but one who meets them with courage and self-respect. The heart of advocacy. At its core, advocacy is love in action. It is the willingness to stand beside your child in every space they enter and to remind them that their voice matters. It is writing that extra email, attending that meeting, and comforting your child when things do not go as planned. It is choosing compassion over anger, patience over frustration, and persistence over defeat. Your calm presence, your steady belief in your child, and your commitment to fairness all create ripples beyond your family. You are shaping not only your child's experience, but also the environments they will move through. When your child sees you advocate with kindness and strength, they learn the most powerful lesson of all. They learn that compassion can be a force for change, both at home and out in the world. Chapter 9. Supporting siblings with empathy and presence. Every child in a family deserves to feel seen, heard, and valued. When one child needs more attention because of health, behavior, or developmental challenges, the other children often take on quiet emotional weight. They may feel invisible, jealous, or guilty for wanting attention. Parenting with compassion means caring for the whole family system, not only for the child who needs the most help. Supporting siblings is about creating balance, empathy, and open communication. It is about teaching each child that love grows when it is shared. The hidden emotions of siblings. Siblings often hold complex emotions that they cannot fully express. They may feel proud of their brother or sister one moment and resentful the next. They may want to help but also wish they could have more of your time. These feelings are normal. They do not mean your child is selfish or unkind. They mean they are human. When you notice tension or distance between siblings, try to see the emotion beneath the behavior. A child who acts angry may actually be feeling overlooked. A child who withdraws may feel unsure of their place. You can gently say, "It seems like you are feeling left out. Do you want to tell me what has been hard?" Opening space for honesty helps prevent resentment from building. Validating every child's experience. Each child's experience in the family is unique. Avoid comparing siblings even when it feels harmless. Statements like, "Your sister can do it, why can't you?" can create shame and competition. Instead, focus on each child's strengths and growth. You can say, "You are really good at being patient," or "I love how creative you are." Validation means recognizing both the positive and the difficult. If your child says, "It is not fair that you spend so much time with my brother," respond with understanding instead of defensiveness. You can say, "I know it feels unfair sometimes. I also wish I had more time for just you." This honesty builds trust. It shows that all feelings are safe to express. Creating individual time. One of the most powerful ways to support siblings is to give them moments that belong only to them. Even 10 minutes of focused attention can make a big difference. It does not have to be elaborate. A walk, reading a book together, cooking, or playing a short game can be enough. What matters is that they feel your full presence. During that time, avoid talking about the other child. Focus entirely on them. Ask questions about their interests, friends, or dreams. These moments remind them that their individuality matters. When a child feels valued for who they are less likely to resent the attention their sibling receives. Encouraging connection between siblings. Siblings build lifelong relationships through shared experiences. Encourage cooperation instead of competition. You can involve them in simple family tasks such as cooking together or helping with a pet. Praise teamwork instead of singling out one child. "I love how you both work together to clean up the room," teaches unity. If one child helps another, acknowledge their kindness, but avoid turning it into a constant expectation. Siblings should not feel responsible for each other's emotions or behaviors. When conflict arises, guide them toward problem solving instead of punishment. Ask, "What do you both need to feel better right now?" This shifts focus from blame to understanding. Balancing needs in families with extra challenges. When one child has special needs or behavioral struggles, siblings often adapt in ways that go unnoticed. They may become overly independent or try to avoid adding stress to the household. Acknowledge their efforts. You can say, "I see how patient you have been when things get loud. That means a lot to me." Recognition alone can relieve a quiet burden. At the same time, remind them that it is not their job to fix or protect their sibling. Give them permission to have their own boundaries. Let them express frustration without guilt. Balance is built by making sure every child's emotional life is cared for. When one child receives therapy or extra support, consider small parallel supports for the others, such as talking time with you or a trusted adult. Open family conversations. When appropriate, talk openly about the challenges the family faces. Silence can create confusion and fear. Honesty, when shared calmly, helps everyone feel grounded. You can explain things in age-appropriate ways. Your brother's brain works differently, and sometimes that makes it hard for him to stay calm. It is not your fault when he gets upset. Encourage questions. Some children stay quiet because they do not want to upset you. Let them know it is always safe to talk. Family meetings can also help. Keep them short and positive. Use them to share good news, solve small problems, or plan something fun. When children feel included, they feel empowered. Supporting emotional expression. Each child needs a way to release stress. For some, it may be art or writing. For others, it may be sports or music. Encourage these outlets and make time for them. When emotions run high, stay calm and steady. You can say, It is okay to be angry or sad. You can tell me what you need. Avoid rushing to fix everything. Sometimes children just need to be heard. Silence and presence often heal more than advice. If you notice ongoing sadness or anger that does not fade, consider counseling. Talking to someone neutral can give siblings a space to process feelings they might hide from you. Building compassion without burden. Empathy is a beautiful quality, but it must not come at the cost of a child's own well-being. Encourage kindness, but also teach boundaries. You can say, "It is kind to help your brother, but it is also okay to take a break when you need one." When children see empathy modeled with balance, they learn to care for others while also caring for themselves. Celebrate small acts of kindness like sharing, comforting, or cooperating, but never make love feel like an obligation. Healing sibling relationships through time. Siblings may go through phases of closeness and distance. This is normal. Relationships shift as children grow and find their own identities. Do not panic if they argue or seem disconnected. Focus on maintaining respect and kindness. Over time, shared memories and family experiences will bring them closer again. As they mature, they will begin to understand the sacrifices and love that shaped their childhood. Many siblings who once fought fiercely grow into adults with deep loyalty and understanding. Your calm presence through their ups and downs becomes their model for how to stay connected through life's changes. The gift of being seen. Every child wants to feel seen. When you take time to notice the quiet one, praise the helper, and comfort the one who feels forgotten, you are building resilience in your family. A balanced home does not mean that everyone gets equal time or attention every day. It means that every child knows their place is secure and their feelings matter. Through your awareness, empathy, and presence, your children will learn that love expands. They will learn that compassion is not a limited resource. When you nurture sibling relationships with patience and intention, you are not only shaping a peaceful home, but also teaching your children how to care for others for the rest of their lives. They will carry these lessons into friendships, partnerships, and their own families someday. The kindness you plant in your home will grow far beyond it. Chapter 10. Long-Term Vision. Raising Emotionally Strong Adults. Parenting lasts a lifetime, even when our children are grown. Every moment of teaching, listening, and repairing becomes part of the person our child will someday be. The choices we make today build the foundation for the kind of adult our child will become tomorrow. When parents focus only on immediate behavior, they may miss the deeper work of shaping character. The goal is not simply to raise a child who follows rules, but to raise a person who knows how to care, how to think, and how to love. The long view of parenting. It is easy to get lost in the small struggles of everyday life. We want the tantrum to stop, the homework finished, and the dishes done. But parenting is not only about control in the moment. It is about creating habits of mind and heart that last long after childhood ends. Studies show that parents who keep a long-term perspective raise children who are more emotionally stable and confident as adults. They understand that discipline is not punishment, but guidance, and that connection is the true source of authority. When we focus only on obedience, children may learn fear instead of respect. They grow into adults who obey external rules but feel lost inside. When we focus on understanding and growth, children learn self-trust. They become adults who act with integrity even when no one is watching. Emotional strength as the goal. Emotional strength is not about hiding feelings or pretending to be tough. It is the ability to recognize emotions, express them appropriately, and recover from stress without collapsing. It is what allows adults to form healthy relationships and handle life's disappointments with resilience. Research suggests that children who grow up in emotionally aware homes develop better coping skills, higher self-esteem, and stronger empathy. When parents model calm and consistency, children's nervous systems learn how to regulate themselves. Without emotional guidance, children often grow into adults who struggle to handle frustration or uncertainty. They may seek comfort in unhealthy ways, become defensive in relationships, or feel constant self-doubt. When emotional strength is nurtured early, the result is an adult who feels grounded and capable. They can face challenges without fear of failure and recover from loss without losing hope. Modeling the skills we want to teach children learn more from what we do than what we say. Studies show that parental modeling is one of the strongest predictors of emotional intelligence in adulthood. When parents manage stress calmly, communicate respectfully, and repair after conflict, they are teaching lifelong skills. A parent who apologizes teaches humility. A parent who keeps promises teaches reliability. A parent who admits I am upset and I need a moment to calm down teaches self-awareness. Children raised in homes where emotions are acknowledged instead of denied grow into adults who can tolerate discomfort. They do not panic when others are upset. They know that feelings come and go and that connection can survive tension. In homes where anger or silence rules, children may grow into adults who repeat those same patterns. They might avoid closeness out of fear or explode because no one showed them another way. Every small moment of modeling matters. When parents regulate themselves, they become the blueprint for emotional strength. Building self-discipline and responsibility. Self-discipline is not about control. It is about learning to act with intention rather than impulse. Research on child development shows that children who learn self-control through patient teaching rather than punishment become adults with greater academic and emotional success. Parents can nurture self-discipline through structure and trust. Simple habits like keeping routines, finishing tasks, and taking responsibility for mistakes teach children that effort leads to results. When children are not taught responsibility, they may grow into adults who avoid accountability. They may struggle to keep commitments or blame others for their mistakes. Children who learn accountability grow into adults who can hold jobs, maintain relationships, and take pride in their actions. They understand that freedom and responsibility go together. One of the greatest gifts a parent can give is the courage to face consequences without shame. When we teach our children that mistakes are part of growth, we are preparing them for resilience instead of perfectionism. Teaching emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is the ability to manage strong feelings in healthy ways. Studies show that children learn this skill primarily through co-regulation with a calm adult. When parents stay steady during their child's big emotions, they literally shape the wiring of the brain. Children who grow up with calm, responsive parents are more likely to handle stress, resist peer pressure, and recover from disappointment. Those who grow up in chaos often develop anxiety, anger, or avoidance. Parents teach emotional regulation by remaining calm in the face of storms. Saying, "You are safe and I am here," during a meltdown does more to strengthen the brain than any punishment ever could. When children are not taught this, they may grow into adults who are ruled by emotions instead of guided by them. They may lash out when hurt or withdraw when scared. Emotional regulation in childhood becomes emotional maturity in adulthood. The role of boundaries in building strength. Boundaries protect relationships. They teach both parent and child where one person ends and another begins. Research consistently shows that children who grow up with predictable, loving boundaries are more secure and confident as adults. Without boundaries, children feel adrift. They become adults who either dominate or surrender in relationships. They may have difficulty saying no or respecting others' limits. Firm, kind boundaries teach safety. When parents enforce rules calmly and consistently, children learn that love includes structure. A child who knows the family rules and sees them applied with fairness learns that respect is mutual. In contrast, inconsistent or harsh boundaries create confusion. Children raised in that environment often become adults who either rebel against authority or seek it in unhealthy ways. Healthy boundaries form the backbone of emotional stability. They allow adults to choose freely without fear of losing love. Encouraging empathy and compassion. Empathy is the ability to understand another person's experience. Compassion is the decision to respond with kindness. Together, they form the moral and emotional intelligence that healthy adults rely on. Studies show that children who experience empathy from their parents develop stronger social skills and lower rates of aggression. When parents validate feelings instead of dismissing them, children internalize that all emotions are acceptable and that others deserve the same understanding. When empathy is missing in childhood, adults often struggle with intimacy. They may fear vulnerability or misread others' intentions. Relationships become sources of anxiety rather than comfort. Parents can teach empathy by naming emotions in everyday life. "He looks sad," or "that must have hurt," helps children connect words to feelings. Volunteering, caring for pets, or comforting a sibling all build compassionate habits. An empathetic child becomes an adult who values cooperation over control. They lead with fairness, listen with openness, and contribute to communities that thrive on mutual respect. Helping children learn from struggle. Struggle is not something to be feared. It is one of the greatest teachers a child can have. When parents try to remove all obstacles, they unintentionally remove opportunities for growth. Studies show that children who experience manageable levels of challenge build stronger problem-solving skills and greater emotional endurance as adults. Children who never experience struggle may grow into adults who feel powerless when life becomes difficult. They might avoid risk, freeze in the face of criticism, or expect others to solve their problems. Parents who allow children to face frustration while offering emotional support are giving them one of life's most valuable lessons. You can say, "This is hard, but I know you can do it. I am here if you need me." Those few words build confidence and courage. Each time your child faces difficulty and overcomes it, their brain learns persistence. Each time they fail and get back up, their heart learns resilience. The parent who stays calm and supportive through these moments is raising an adult who can weather the storms of life with grace. Guiding without controlling. Guidance is different from control. Control comes from fear, while guidance comes from trust. Research shows that parents who use a guiding approach raise children with higher internal motivation and better emotional regulation. Control teaches obedience without understanding. Guidance teaches self-reflection. When parents control every decision, children may grow into adults who lack confidence. They struggle to make independent choices and often seek validation before acting. When parents guide with empathy, children learn to think critically and take ownership of their actions. Guiding without controlling means asking questions that encourage problem solving. You can say, "What do you think would happen if you did this?" or "What other options could work?" This helps your child learn to weigh outcomes instead of reacting impulsively. Adults raised in this way tend to be thoughtful, curious, and self-reliant. They know how to make decisions that reflect their values, that is not just external pressure. The importance of repair after conflict. No parent gets it right every time. There will be moments when frustration wins and tempers flare. What matters most is not the conflict itself, but what comes after it. Research on attachment and family relationships shows that repairing after conflict builds trust and resilience. When a parent returns to say, "I should not have yelled. I was frustrated, but that was not your fault. I am sorry," the child learns that relationships can heal. When parents never repair, children often internalize the conflict as their own fault. This can lead to adults who avoid confrontation, fear rejection, or believe that love disappears when things go wrong. Repair teaches that love can survive imperfection. It creates adults who can apologize, forgive, and rebuild. Letting go with confidence. Parenting is a gradual process of letting go. From the first day of school to the first night out with friends, each milestone prepares both parent and child for independence. Letting go is not about losing control. It is about trusting what you have taught. Children who are allowed appropriate independence grow into capable, confident adults. Studies show that autonomy-supportive parenting leads to better problem-solving and lower anxiety in adulthood. When parents hold on too tightly, children may grow up afraid to take risks. They may stay dependent, unsure of their abilities, or struggle to form healthy boundaries. Letting go with love communicates faith in your child's growth. It says, "I believe in you enough to let you try." That belief becomes the child's internal voice of courage for the rest of their life. Parenting for the next generation. The effects of parenting extend beyond one lifetime. What we teach our children will influence how they parent their own children someday. Studies on intergenerational patterns show that emotional neglect, harshness, or inconsistency often pass down unless someone consciously chooses a new path. When a parent decides to lead with compassion, they interrupt those cycles. Each moment of empathy, patience, and repair becomes a seed of healing that will outlive them. Children who grow up in emotionally healthy homes tend to form stable relationships, manage stress effectively, and raise secure children of their own. Compassionate parenting does not only transform a family, it transforms a lineage. The science behind calm parenting. Modern neuroscience supports what wise parents have always known. Calm presence changes everything. Studies on brain development show that a child's prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and emotional control, develops best in an environment of safety and connection. When parents yell or threaten, the child's brain enters survival mode. Logical thinking shuts down and fear takes over. Repeated exposure to this stress can alter brain chemistry, leading to anxiety and impulsive behavior in adulthood. When parents stay calm, the child's nervous system learns regulation. Over time, this builds stronger pathways for focus, empathy, and problem-solving. Calm parenting does not mean perfection. It means choosing to respond thoughtfully, even in chaos. The cost of neglecting emotional growth. Children who grow up without emotional guidance often enter adulthood carrying invisible wounds. They may feel unworthy of love, struggle with boundaries, or repeat unhealthy relationship patterns. Emotional neglect does not always look like cruelty. Sometimes it is silence, disinterest, or busyness that leaves a child feeling unseen. Research shows that adults raised without emotional attunement have higher rates of depression, loneliness, and substance use. These outcomes are not inevitable. Healing is always possible. But when parents take the time to nurture emotional intelligence early, they give their children a head start toward lifelong well-being. The goal is not to be perfect, but to be present. A child who feels seen, heard, and valued develops a secure sense of self. That sense of safety becomes their inner compass for every choice they make. What emotionally strong adults look like. Emotionally strong adults are not immune to pain. They simply know how to move through it. They handle criticism without collapsing, take responsibility without shame, and love others without losing themselves. They set boundaries with confidence and express their needs clearly. They listen with empathy and speak with integrity. They recover from loss by seeking connection, not isolation. These qualities do not appear by accident. They are built over years of gentle teaching and consistent love. When parents nurture self-awareness, patience, and compassion, they are building all of these strengths. Children raised in emotionally intelligent homes grow into adults who do not repeat the mistakes of control and fear. They create workplaces, friendships, and families rooted in respect and understanding. Your vision as a parent, parenting with long-term vision, begins with clarity. Take a moment to imagine your child as an adult. Picture them at 25 or 40. What kind of person do you hope they are? What qualities do you want them to carry into their life, their relationships, and their own parenting? Now look at your daily routines, your tone of voice, your moments of frustration, and your moments of joy. Ask yourself, are these shaping the person I want my child to become? If not, there is no shame in starting again. Growth in parenting mirrors growth in children. Each day offers a new chance to align your actions with your vision. You can even share this reflection with your child in simple terms. Say, I am trying to be calmer because I want us to feel closer. Or, I am learning to listen better because it helps both of us. Modeling self-improvement teaches them that change is possible and worth pursuing. What this book teaches will help your child avoid. The lessons in this book protect children from many of the struggles adults often face. They will learn how to regulate emotions instead of suppressing them, how to communicate rather than react, and how to take responsibility without fear. They will avoid the trap of perfectionism because they will understand that worth is not tied to performance. They will avoid people-pleasing because they will know that healthy love includes saying no. They will avoid chronic anxiety because they will have been taught how to calm their own bodies and minds. Children raised with compassion become adults who can build strong, respectful relationships. They can lead with empathy instead of control. They are less likely to repeat cycles of emotional neglect or abuse. What they will gain instead, they will gain confidence, self-respect, and the ability to see both sides of conflict. They will gain a deep understanding that mistakes are part of growth. They will gain the capacity to love fully without losing themselves. They will have the courage to ask for help when needed and the wisdom to offer help without judgment. They will bring light into the spaces they occupy. They will live with a quiet strength that does not shout or demand, but simply stands firm in kindness. The legacy of compassionate parenting. Every choice you make as a parent becomes part of your child's story. When you teach through compassion, you create a legacy of emotional health that will outlive you. You may never see all the results of your efforts, but they will exist. They will show up in the way your child speaks to their friends, comforts their own children, and meets the world with gentleness. When you choose patience instead of punishment, you are shaping someone who will one day choose patience too. When you choose to repair after conflict, you are showing your child how to heal relationships. When you love them consistently, you are teaching them what love truly means. Parenting with compassion is not easy, but it is the most lasting form of change you can create in the world. Closing reflection. When you look at your child, you are looking at your life's greatest contribution. Each moment of kindness, each boundary set with care, each lesson taught with love builds something far beyond your lifetime. You are not just raising a child, you are raising a future partner, friend, and parent. You are shaping the world your child will create. If you stay committed to compassion, consistency, and presence, your child will grow into an adult who brings those same qualities to others. That is how love multiplies. That is how change begins. Your long-term vision is not about perfection. It is about faith. Faith that the seeds you plant today will grow into something strong, kind, and beautiful. Chapter 11. When anger lives in the parent, breaking the cycle. Anger is a natural emotion. Every parent feels it. But when it becomes a constant presence in the home, it can change everything. Anger can disguise itself as control, discipline, or even love, but underneath it often lives something else. It might be exhaustion, fear, grief, or old pain that never had a voice. Many of us grew up around anger. Some of us were yelled at, others ignored. Some learned to shout to be heard, others learned to stay silent to stay safe. Whatever form it took, it left a mark. And sometimes that mark shows up years later when we become parents ourselves. Breaking the cycle of anger does not mean never feeling angry. It means learning to understand it, to name it, and to handle it without harming ourselves or the people we love. The hidden weight of anger. Anger often feels powerful, but it is usually protecting something tender. It might cover guilt, sadness, or fear. It might be the only emotion that ever felt safe to show. Many parents do not realize how much anger they carry until they are pushed to their limits. The crying, the refusal to listen, the exhaustion of daily life can bring old wounds to the surface. Suddenly, you are reacting to your child as if you are fighting every moment of frustration you ever felt growing up. If you were raised to believe that anger equals strength, it can feel terrifying to let go of it. But anger is not strength. It is pain wearing armor. True strength is having the courage to take that armor off. When anger becomes the language of the home. In homes where anger leads, everyone learns to walk on eggshells. The child watches for signs that the storm is coming. They read every facial expression, every tone of voice. They begin to measure safety by your mood instead of by your love. They might stop expressing their own feelings out of fear. They might begin to lie or hide mistakes. They learn that truth is dangerous. You may not mean to hurt them. Most angry parents are not cruel. They are simply overwhelmed. But children do not understand context. They do not see your exhaustion. They only feel the fear. If this has happened in your home, it is not too late to change. Children are incredibly forgiving when they see effort and sincerity. The echo of childhood. Many parents who struggle with anger were raised by angry parents themselves. It can be painful to realize that we are repeating the very behaviors we once feared. But awareness is the first step toward breaking the cycle. You might remember being a child who could never do enough to please your parent. You might remember feeling small, unimportant, or unsafe. Those memories live in the body even when the mind forgets. Sometimes the anger you feel toward your child is actually the unspoken anger you still carry toward your own parents. You never got to express it then, so it spills out now in the moments when you feel powerless. The good news is that cycles end the moment someone chooses awareness. When you notice your anger and pause instead of reacting, you are already breaking the pattern that hurt you. The cost of unhealed anger. When anger controls a home, it teaches lessons that no parent ever means to teach. It teaches that love is unpredictable. It teaches that emotions must be hidden. It teaches that power is something to fear, not something to use with care. Children raised in anger often grow into adults who feel anxious in relationships. They may struggle with self-esteem or feel unsafe expressing emotion. Some become people pleasers, trying to keep everyone happy to avoid conflict. Others become angry themselves, believing that control is the only way to stay safe. This is not the legacy any parent wants to leave. The pain of unhealed anger spreads quietly across generations, but it can also end in one generation when a parent decides to face it with compassion. When you learn to handle anger differently, your child learns safety differently. They see that love and patience can coexist. They learn that mistakes are not punishable crimes, but opportunities for growth. Recognizing triggers. The first step to transforming anger is recognizing what triggers it. These triggers are rarely about the child's behavior alone. They often connect to deeper fears or unmet needs. You might feel anger rise when your child ignores you because you spent your own childhood feeling unheard. You might feel rage when they talk back because you were never allowed to speak up yourself. Start paying attention to your body's signals. Anger begins as tension long before words are spoken. You may feel your heart race, your shoulders tighten, your jaw clench. These are the warning signs that you are about to react rather than respond. When you notice those signals, pause. Even a short pause can change the outcome. Take a breath. Step into another room if you need to. Say, "I need a minute to calm down." You are not failing your child when you take that space. You are protecting them and yourself. Repair and responsibility. All parents lose their temper sometimes. What matters is what comes next. Repair is how trust is rebuilt. Go back to your child after the moment has passed. Sit with them and say, "I was wrong to yell. I was frustrated, but that is not your fault. I am sorry." Then let them respond. Listen to how they felt. You are not giving away authority by apologizing. You are modeling accountability. You are showing your child that love includes humility. When you repair after anger, you teach your child that relationships can heal. You also give them a template for what to do when they make mistakes. They learn that conflict is not the end of connection. Over time, this kind of repair changes everything. It softens fear. It rebuilds trust. It replaces anxiety with safety. Healing the root, not just the reaction. Managing anger in the moment is important, but true healing happens when you address its root. Anger is often a symptom of something deeper. It may come from chronic stress, past trauma, or the relentless pressure of trying to do everything perfectly. If you find that anger is a frequent visitor, look beneath it. Ask yourself, what is this anger trying to tell me? It might be saying, "I am tired." It might be saying, "I feel alone." It might even be saying, "No one ever protected me the way I am trying to protect my child." Give yourself permission to explore these layers without judgment. Therapy, journaling, mindfulness, and even quiet moments of reflection can help you understand yourself more fully. Healing anger is not about controlling emotion. It is about listening to it and meeting its unmet needs. You cannot pour calm into your home if you are running on emptiness. The more you care for your emotional health, the easier it becomes to stay patient and kind. Teaching through transparency. Children benefit from seeing that adults are human. When you talk about your emotions openly, you remove the mystery and fear around them. You can say, "I was feeling really angry today, but I took a break so I would not yell. I am learning to handle my feelings better." That simple honesty teaches your child that growth is possible. It also relieves them of unnecessary guilt. When you name your emotions, your child understands that your anger is about you, not them. This gives them freedom to feel safe and loved even when you are struggling. Transparency creates emotional safety. It shows that strength is not silence. Strength is self-awareness. Transforming anger into awareness. Anger is not always the enemy. It can be a signal that something in your life needs attention. It can tell you when you are overwhelmed, unsupported, or stretched too thin. When you treat anger as a messenger rather than a monster, you begin to understand yourself differently. Instead of feeling ashamed, you can feel curious. Why did that moment bother me so much? What part of me needs care? The more you understand your anger, the less control it has over you. It becomes a teacher rather than a weapon. Children raised by parents who can reflect on their emotions grow up learning to do the same. They learn that emotions are not dangerous and that calm is possible even in chaos. The gift of change. Breaking the cycle of anger is not about perfection, it is about intention. Every time you choose to pause instead of yell, you are rewriting the story of your family. Your child will remember those moments more than the times you lost your temper. They will remember that you kept trying. They will see your effort as love in action. When anger turns into awareness, the home becomes a safer place for everyone. It becomes a place where both parent and child can grow without fear. You may not have had a calm home growing up, but you can create one now. You can give your child what you once needed most: a parent who sees, listens, and loves through patience. Breaking the cycle for good. The most powerful way to end the cycle of anger is to replace it with connection. Every time you repair, reflect, or choose understanding over control, you are building a new legacy. Your child will carry these lessons into their own adulthood. They will not fear emotions or equate love with volatility. They will know that kindness can coexist with strength. This is how generational healing happens. One calm moment at a time, one apology at a time, one choice to pause instead of react. Your anger does not define you, your awareness does. Every act of reflection, every attempt to grow is proof that you are already changing the story. When anger no longer rules the home, love finally gets to lead it. And that is how the cycle ends, not with shame, but with courage. Chapter 12: Parenting while struggling with mental health. Parenting is hard for everyone, but when you are carrying the weight of mental health challenges, it can feel almost impossible. You may wake up every morning determined to do better, only to find yourself running out of strength before the day even begins. You may love your child deeply and still feel empty, numb, or exhausted. You may give everything you have and still believe it is not enough. If this is you, you are not alone. Many parents are quietly fighting the same battle. They show up every day for their children while trying to manage depression, anxiety, trauma, or other invisible burdens. The fact that you care about being a good parent, even when it feels hard, already means you are one. This chapter is not about perfection. It is about honesty, self-compassion, and finding ways to nurture your child even when you are struggling yourself. The quiet struggle. Mental health challenges rarely arrive with a warning. Sometimes they appear after years of holding everything together. Sometimes they come in waves that make ordinary tasks feel impossible. When you are struggling, even small things can feel heavy. Parenting adds another layer to that struggle. You cannot take a break from being a parent. You cannot call in sick from love. You are responsible for another life, even when your own feels like it is unraveling. This creates a deep tension between what you want to give and what you are able to give. You may feel guilty for being tired, for losing patience, or for needing time to yourself. You may feel that asking for help is a weakness, but it is not. It is courage. Mental health struggles do not make you a bad parent. They make you human. The challenge is learning how to parent with honesty while still caring for your own healing. The impact of unspoken pain. When parents hide their pain, children often sense it anyway. They notice when something feels off, even if they cannot name it. Silence teaches them that emotions are secret and that struggle should be hidden. You do not need to protect your child from your truth. You only need to protect them from your hopelessness. There is a difference. If you are having a hard time, it is okay to say, "I am feeling sad today," or "Mommy is tired and needs a quiet moment." This shows your child that feelings are safe to talk about and that they do not have to pretend to be happy when they are not. Children who grow up in homes where emotions are acknowledged learn empathy and understanding. They learn that people can be both strong and vulnerable at the same time. Parenting through depression. Depression can make you feel disconnected from everything that used to bring you joy. It can dull your senses, drain your motivation, and make love feel heavy even when it is still there. Parenting while depressed is an act of bravery. On hard days, focus on presence instead of perfection. Sit next to your child while they play. Read together, even if your mind wanders. Smile at them when they look at you, even if it takes effort. These small acts mean more than you realize. Your child does not need an endlessly cheerful parent. They need a parent who stays, even through sadness. They need your honesty, your quiet effort, your continued love. If you feel detached, remember that connection can rebuild slowly. Some days it will come easily. Some days it will feel like work. Both are okay. Parenting through anxiety. Anxiety often disguises itself as overprotection or control. You may feel the need to check on your child constantly, to prevent every possible mistake, to predict every outcome. But anxiety's promise of safety is false. It keeps both you and your child trapped in fear. Try to notice when anxiety is speaking for you. Ask yourself, is this fear about my child, or is it about my need to feel safe? Learning to separate the two can bring relief. When you are anxious, grounding yourself helps. Slow your breathing. Focus on what is happening right now, not what might happen later. Remind yourself that your child needs freedom to grow, even if it feels scary to let go. You are not weak for feeling anxious. Anxiety is often born from love that wants to protect. With awareness, that same love can turn into calm guidance. The guilt trap. Parents struggling with mental health often carry enormous guilt. You may compare yourself to others who seem to have it all together. You may feel ashamed for losing your temper, missing a school event, or needing medication. But guilt does not make you better. It only drains the energy you need to heal. The truth is, every parent fails sometimes. What matters is not that you fall short, but that you keep showing up. Your child does not need a perfect parent. They need a real one. They need to see you care enough to keep trying. That effort becomes their model for resilience. When they face struggles later in life, they will remember your persistence and know they can survive their own hard days, too. Honesty without burden. It is healthy to be honest about your feelings, but it is also important not to place adult emotions on a child's shoulders. Your child should not be your caretaker or your therapist. They should not feel responsible for your happiness. You can say, "I am feeling sad," but it is not your job to fix it. "I am taking care of myself, and I love you." That balance teaches your child empathy without guilt. It shows them that caring does not mean carrying. You can model emotional awareness while still keeping boundaries safe and clear. It teaches your child that love and responsibility can exist together. Asking for help. One of the hardest steps in healing is asking for help. But it is also one of the most powerful. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot heal in isolation. Reaching out to a friend, counselor, or support group is not a sign of weakness. It is a declaration that you value your child enough to take care of yourself. It is choosing life and connection over silence and struggle. Help might come from therapy, medication, community support, or trusted friends. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but help is what builds the bridge between survival and stability. You do not have to do this alone. There are people who want to see you and your child thrive. Let them in. The importance of self-compassion. Healing begins when you stop punishing yourself for being in pain. Self-compassion is not indulgence. It is survival. Talk to yourself as you would talk to a friend. Replace "I am failing" with "I am trying." Replace "I am weak" with "I am healing." Replace "I should be doing more" with "I am doing what I can today." Your inner voice becomes your child's inner voice. If you speak to yourself with kindness, they will learn to do the same. Even small acts of care count. Take a shower, step outside, drink water, rest when you can. These moments of care remind your mind and body that they still deserve tenderness. Repairing when you fall short. There will be days when you are not your best. You might snap, withdraw, or forget something important. These moments do not define you. What defines you is what you do afterward. Apologize when needed. Reconnect when you can. You might say, "I was feeling upset earlier, and I took it out on you. That was not fair. I love you." Children understand forgiveness better than anyone. They care less about mistakes and more about honesty. Every repair you make strengthens the bond. It reminds your child that love does not disappear when things get hard. Making peace with imperfection. Perfection is not only impossible, it is damaging. The pursuit of it leads to constant self-criticism and disappointment. Parenting while struggling with mental health requires a different goal: peace instead of perfection. Peace means accepting that some days will be messy. It means celebrating small wins. It means knowing that effort counts as much as outcome. You can still raise a happy, secure child while healing yourself. In fact, your journey toward healing can become one of the most powerful lessons they ever witness. When your child sees you heal, children learn by watching how their parents handle difficulty. When they see you seek help, take care of yourself, and keep trying, they learn resilience. They learn that it is okay to need support. They learn that struggle is not shameful. When you heal, even slowly, you change the atmosphere of the home. The energy shifts from survival to growth. Your child begins to feel that stability and safety are possible. You begin to believe it too. Healing is not only for you, it is for the generations that come after you. The strength you cannot see. When you are in the middle of a mental health battle, it can be hard to see your progress. Healing often happens quietly, in small moments. It is in the way you pause before reacting. It is in the way you keep showing up. It is in the way you whisper, "I love you," even when your heart feels numb. Those moments matter. They are proof of your strength. You are not failing. You are growing under pressure. You are learning to parent with vulnerability, honesty, and courage, and your child will remember that forever. The gift of presence. Children do not need constant entertainment or endless energy. They need presence. Even quiet presence counts. Sitting beside your child, listening to their stories, sharing a meal, or saying goodnight with sincerity creates security. You do not have to feel joyful to offer love. Sometimes love is in the showing up. Presence says, "You matter to me." And even on your darkest days, that message will still reach them. Closing reflection. Parenting while struggling with mental health is one of the hardest journeys there is, but it is also one of the most sacred. It teaches compassion, empathy, and honesty in ways that ease can never teach. You may not always feel strong, but your love speaks louder than your pain. Every act of care you give while hurting is a miracle in motion. Every time you choose to stay, to try, and to love again, you are breaking cycles of silence and shame. You are raising a child who will grow up knowing that love is not about perfection. It is about presence, effort, and truth. You are not failing. You are healing. And in that healing, you are teaching your child the deepest lesson of all, that being human is enough. Chapter 13, Substance Use and the Path to Healing. Substance use is not always about wanting to escape. More often, it begins with wanting to feel something different. A little calm, a little less pain, a few hours where the mind quiets or the body relaxes, or the weight of responsibility feels lighter. For many parents, especially those carrying trauma, stress, or untreated mental health challenges, that relief can feel like survival. But what begins as relief can grow into a trap. The very thing that promises to make life easier can start to make it unmanageable. What once numbed the pain starts to numb everything, including joy, connection, and love. The laughter feels quieter, the mornings feel heavier, and the guilt begins to grow. This chapter is not about shame. It is about honesty, healing, and returning to yourself. It is about remembering that you are more than your mistakes and that your children deserve the version of you who believes that change is possible. Understanding why it happens. People often assume that substance use is a sign of weakness, but it is usually a sign of pain. It can grow from loneliness, trauma, exhaustion, or grief. Sometimes it starts as an attempt to cope with anxiety or depression. Sometimes it is passed down through generations, not through genetics, but through the example of what people use to survive. If you have turned to substances, it is important to understand that you were trying to meet a need, the need for rest, the need for peace, the need to stop hurting. These needs are real and human, but the way we try to fill them can harm the very lives we want to protect. The path to healing begins with compassion for yourself. You cannot heal from what you hate. You can only heal from what you understand. The impact on parenting substance use does not just affect the person who uses. It affects the entire rhythm of the home. It changes trust, communication, and safety. Children may become confused when the parent they love seems different from one day to the next. They may start to watch closely, to gauge moods, to learn when it is safe to speak. Over time, children may feel they need to take on adult responsibilities. They may clean up messes, care for siblings, or protect the parent emotionally. This role reversal leaves deep marks. The child learns that love means fixing people instead of trusting them. They may grow up to choose relationships that mirror that imbalance. If this has happened in your home, it is never too late to begin again. Children are resilient, especially when they see change. What heals them most is not your perfection, but your consistency. When you show them that you are working to recover, you are showing them that love is worth fighting for. Recognizing denial. One of the hardest steps in recovery is admitting that there is a problem. Denial is powerful. It can disguise itself as logic. It can sound like, I can stop anytime, or I still get everything done. It can sound like I'm not like those people. But denial keeps healing just out of reach. If you are reading this and feel defensive or uncertain, that is okay. It means you are already beginning to question what has become normal. You do not have to label yourself with anything right now. You only have to tell the truth to yourself. Ask, is this helping me live the life I want to live? Is this making me the parent I want to be? Honesty is the door to freedom. Every person who has recovered began by opening that door. The child's experience. Children do not understand addiction. They only understand inconsistency. They might not have the words, but they know when something feels off. They know when promises are broken. They know when you are present but not really there. Over time, this unpredictability creates anxiety. The child learns to anticipate disappointment. They might become withdrawn or overly responsible. They might believe that if they were better, you would not need the substance at all. That belief can follow them into adulthood, shaping their relationships and self-worth. But children also understand love. When they see you choosing healing, they begin to trust again. When you apologize, when you stay sober for one more day, when you show up fully, they notice. You are rebuilding their sense of safety, one small step at a time. The cycle of shame. Shame keeps people stuck. It whispers that you have already ruined everything, that it is too late, that no one would forgive you. Shame feeds hopelessness, which feeds the very cycle you are trying to escape. Breaking free begins with telling the truth without judgment. You can say, I am struggling, but I want to change. You can say, I am learning to do better. Speaking the truth breaks shame's hold. When you begin to forgive yourself, you allow healing to begin. Guilt can be useful when it leads to change, but shame only destroys. Guilt says, I did something wrong. Shame says, I am something wrong. You are not the problem. You are a person who has been hurting, seeking help. You do not have to do this alone. Recovery is not about willpower. It is about connection. Healing grows in the presence of honesty, support, and accountability. For some, help looks like counseling or joining a recovery group. For others, it means talking to a trusted friend or doctor. The form does not matter as much as the willingness to reach out. Admitting that you need help is an act of strength. It is choosing truth over denial, love over pride, and hope over despair. You do not have to know what the whole road looks like. You only have to take one step. It can feel frightening to imagine life without substances, especially if they have been part of your routine for years. But what feels like loss now will one day feel like freedom. Healing may be slow, but every day of clarity builds a stronger foundation for both you and your child. Parenting in early recovery. Early recovery can feel like learning how to live all over again. The emotions that substances use to silence will come back louder at first. Anger, sadness, shame, and grief will rise to the surface. It can feel overwhelming, but it is also proof that you are healing. Your children might not trust right away. They might test you, waiting to see if this change will last. Be patient. Let your consistency speak for you. Do not make promises you are unsure you can keep. Instead, focus on showing up, one day at a time. Recovery does not erase the past, but it creates a new story. You are not just removing something harmful. You are adding something powerful: stability, honesty, and presence. Repairing relationships. Repair takes time. It is tempting to want forgiveness immediately, but trust cannot be rushed. Children may still feel hurt or confused, and that is okay. Your job is to listen, to validate, and to keep showing up. When you talk to your child about recovery, use simple and truthful language. You can say, I used something that hurt me and made it hard to be the parent you needed. I am getting help because you matter to me. You do not need to explain every detail. You only need to give them safety through honesty. As time passes, your actions will rebuild what words cannot. Consistency will become the proof that love is stronger than addiction. Taking care of yourself. Healing from substance use requires more than stopping. It means learning to care for the body and mind that you once neglected. It means finding healthier ways to cope with stress, pain, and fatigue. Sleep, nutrition, exercise, and rest all matter. So does connection. Find people who understand recovery, people who will remind you that you are not defined by your past. Replace judgment with grace and loneliness with support. You cannot teach your child to value themselves if you treat yourself like you do not matter. Your recovery teaches them that every person is worthy of healing, including you. When relapse happens, recovery is rarely a straight line. Sometimes there are setbacks. If relapse happens, it does not mean you failed. It means you are still learning. Be honest about it. Reach out for help immediately. Do not let shame drag you back into isolation. Your child does not need you to be perfect. They need you to be honest and determined to keep trying. Every return to recovery strengthens the lessons you are teaching, that growth is possible, that love can survive failure, and that healing is worth pursuing no matter how many times it takes. Breaking the pattern for future generations. Substance use often runs in families because pain runs in families. When you choose healing, you are not only changing your life, you are changing your child's future and possibly their children's future too. When your child sees you choosing recovery, they learn that facing pain is braver than avoiding it. They learn that asking for help is a strength, not a weakness. They learn that mistakes can lead to growth. This is how cycles end. Through courage, honesty, and the quiet decision to try again tomorrow. Rediscovering yourself. Recovery is not only about giving something up, it is about rediscovering who you are without the substance. You might feel lost at first because the quiet can be uncomfortable, but beneath that quiet is the part of you that has been waiting to breathe again. Reconnect with the things that once brought you peace: music, nature, writing, prayer, art, or movement. Rediscover joy in the simple moments with your child. Notice their laughter, their curiosity, their trust beginning to return. Those small moments will become your motivation when the road feels long. Healing is not only about survival, it is about rediscovering the capacity for joy that addiction once stole. The gift of redemption. There is no past too heavy for healing, no mistake too large to forgive. Every day that you choose recovery is an act of love, not just for yourself, but for your child. You are showing them that courage is not the absence of struggle. Courage is the willingness to face it. Your child will not remember every bad day. What they will remember is the moment you decided to change. They will remember your effort, your honesty, and your love. You are not your addiction. You are the person fighting to come back from it. You are the parent choosing to heal so your child can grow up free. Closing reflection. Substance use thrives in silence and shame. Healing thrives in truth and connection. The journey will be messy and imperfect, but it will also be sacred. You are choosing life over numbness, hope over despair, and presence over avoidance. Your child does not need the version of you that never made mistakes. They need the version that keeps getting up. The one who looks them in the eyes and says, "I am still here and I love you." That love will guide both of you through every step of recovery. It is not too late. It never was. The path home has always been waiting, and it begins with this one small truth: you are still worthy of healing. Chapter 14. When Love is Not Safe. Leaving abusive relationships for the sake of your child. Love is meant to be a place of safety. It is supposed to be where you can breathe, where your body relaxes, where your mind rests. But sometimes love becomes the place where you flinch, where you walk on eggshells, and where you forget who you were before fear began to take up space in your life. When love turns into control or harm, it is no longer love. It may carry the same name, but its actions tell another story. Abuse can begin quietly, with criticism that sounds like concern, with rules disguised as protection, or with isolation disguised as love. Over time, those patterns tighten until you no longer recognize yourself in the mirror. Leaving is not easy. It takes strength that many people never have to find. It takes courage to believe that safety is worth starting over for, and that your child deserves a home where fear is not normal. But leaving is possible, and it is one of the most powerful acts of love you can ever make. The many faces of abuse. Abuse does not always look the same. Sometimes it is physical. Sometimes it is emotional, financial, or verbal. It might look like constant monitoring, humiliation, manipulation, or threats. It might look like kindness one day and cruelty the next. What makes abuse so confusing is that it often lives beside moments of affection. The person who hurts you might also say they love you, apologize, or promise to change. This inconsistency creates hope and doubt at the same time, leaving you trapped between fear and loyalty. If you have ever wondered whether what you are living through is abuse, the fact that you are asking is important. Safe relationships do not make you afraid. Safe partners do not call you names, control your money, or make you question your worth. The impact on the child. Children see more than we think. Even when we believe we are hiding the conflict, they can feel the tension in the air. They notice how the room goes quiet when one person walks in. They sense when their parent's smile disappears. Growing up around abuse teaches children lessons that take years to unlearn. They learn that love and fear can coexist. They learn that shouting or silence is normal. They learn to keep secrets to stay safe. Some children become overly responsible, trying to protect the parent who is being hurt. Others become withdrawn, believing it is safer not to feel at all. Some carry those lessons into adulthood, repeating the cycle in their own relationships. Leaving is not only about protecting yourself, it is about protecting one's understanding of what love should look like. Why it is so hard to leave. Leaving an abusive relationship is not as simple as walking away. People often stay because they are scared, isolated, financially dependent, or emotionally worn down. Abusers often destroy confidence so completely that their victims believe they cannot survive on their own. There is also love. Even when the abuse is severe, love can remain. You might remember the good times and hope they can return. You might believe that if you just try harder, things will change. But love cannot heal someone who refuses to take responsibility for their actions. Love cannot coexist with cruelty. Love is not meant to make you smaller. Leaving does not mean you stopped loving. It means you started valuing yourself and your child enough to choose peace over chaos. When fear becomes normal. In abusive homes, fear becomes part of everyday life. You begin to plan your words carefully. You think before you laugh. You monitor moods to predict danger. This constant state of alertness becomes so familiar that you might not even notice how tense your body always feels. But your child notices. They notice when you freeze, when you whisper, when you flinch. They begin to carry that fear too. And one day they may believe that this is what love looks like. Breaking this pattern begins with acknowledging that fear should never be part of love. Love does not require silence. It does not demand obedience. It does not punish truth. Preparing to leave safely. Leaving an abusive relationship can be dangerous, which is why it must be done carefully. If you are planning to leave, reach out for help quietly and strategically. There are domestic violence hotlines, shelters, and advocates who specialize in helping people leave safely. Gather important documents if you can. Birth certificates, identification, financial records, medications, and your child's school information. Keep them somewhere safe or with someone you trust. Do not announce your plan to the person who is hurting you. Safety comes from preparation and secrecy. Trust your instincts. If something feels unsafe, it probably is. If you are in immediate danger, call for help. In the United States, you can reach the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. They can help you make a plan and connect you with local resources. You are not overreacting. You are not exaggerating. You are protecting a life. The emotional aftermath, leaving is only the first step. What comes next can be equally difficult. There may be grief, guilt, or confusion. You may miss the person who hurt you. You may even feel lonely after the chaos ends. These feelings are normal. Abuse creates emotional dependency. It teaches your body to associate calm with danger and conflict with familiarity. Healing means retraining your mind and body to believe that peace is safe. You might also struggle with self-blame. You may ask yourself, why did I stay so long? But guilt will not heal you. Compassion will. You did what you could with the tools you had at the time. You survived. And now you are building something better. Healing will take time. Therapy, support groups, and trauma-informed counseling can help you understand what happened and rebuild your sense of self. The goal is not to erase the past, but to learn from it and move forward with strength. Rebuilding trust with your child. Children who grow up in abusive homes often feel confused or frightened after leaving. They might act out, withdraw, or seem distant. This is not a rejection of you. It is their way of processing what they have lived through. Give them time. Be honest in ways they can understand. You can say, "We left because it was not safe. I am working hard to make sure we are safe now." Keep your words simple and calm. Allow them to ask questions. Do not speak badly about the abusive parent, but do not cover up the truth either. Honesty builds safety. Over time, your child will begin to trust that the chaos is not coming back. They will start to relax. They will start to play again. These are the signs that healing has begun. Healing yourself. The hardest part of leaving is often learning who you are without fear. Many survivors of abuse spend years living for someone else's approval. When that control is gone, it can feel strange to make choices freely. You might question every decision, waiting for permission that will never come. Healing means rediscovering your voice. It means asking yourself, what do I like? What do I believe? What kind of life do I want to build for me and my child? At first, freedom might feel overwhelming. You may feel like you do not know how to live without chaos. That is because peace takes practice. Start small. Light a candle. Listen to music you were once forbidden to play. Laugh freely. These small moments are how you reclaim yourself. Healing is not a straight line. There will be setbacks, memories, and days when you feel like you have gone backward. But each day you remain free is progress. Each time you speak kindly to yourself, you are rewriting your story, letting go of guilt. Many survivors of abuse carry guilt long after leaving. They worry about what the relationship did to their child or about the time it took to leave. But guilt serves no purpose in healing. You cannot change the past, but you can shape the future. Instead of guilt, practice gratitude for your courage. You made a choice that many never make. You gave your child a chance to grow up in peace. You gave yourself permission to live. Your child does not need a perfect parent. They need a present one. They need the version of you that feels safe, calm, and whole. Forgive yourself for what you did not know before. You were surviving. Now you are healing. The strength to start over. Starting over is not failure. It is freedom. It is the chance to build a life based on respect and truth. You may lose people along the way who do not understand your choice, but the life you gain is worth it. Starting over might mean working again, finding new housing, or learning how to manage finances alone. These challenges are real, but they are temporary. Safety and dignity are permanent gifts. Your child is watching how you rebuild. Every step you take teaches them resilience. Every act of self-care teaches them self-worth. They are learning that strength does not mean staying. Strength means leaving when love is not safe. The legacy of courage. When you choose to leave an abusive relationship, you are not only saving yourself, you are saving your child from repeating the same pattern in the future. You are teaching them what healthy love looks like. They will remember your bravery. They will remember that you refuse to accept harm as normal. And one day, they will use that strength in their own lives when they face difficult choices. Abuse may have shaped part of your story, but it does not get to write the ending. You do. Closing reflection. Leaving an unsafe relationship is one of the hardest things a person can do. It requires faith in a future that does not yet exist. But that future is waiting. It will be built from small moments of peace, quiet mornings, safe laughter, and gentle love. You deserve that future. Your child deserves it too. One day, you will look back and realize that leaving was not the end of your story. It was the moment you began to live it on your own terms. You are not broken. You are brave, and your courage will echo through your child's life as a reminder that love should never hurt. Chapter 15. You do not have to do this alone. Building a support system that works. Parenting is not meant to be done in isolation. Humans have always raised children in community. In the past, families, neighbors, and friends shared the work of raising children, comforting parents, and offering guidance. But today, many parents feel alone. They are told to be everything for their children while managing work, finances, and their own emotional health. No one can do this alone. and you are not supposed to. A strong support system is not a luxury. It is a lifeline. It is what keeps you grounded when life becomes heavy. It is what allows you to rest without guilt, to breathe without fear, and to parent with more calm and confidence. The myth of doing it all. Modern culture often celebrates independence as the highest goal. Parents, especially mothers, are told to handle everything. You are expected to be patient, organized, financially stable, emotionally strong, and endlessly available. But this expectation is not human. It is impossible. Trying to do everything alone leads to burnout, resentment, and self-blame. You begin to feel like you are failing, when in truth you are simply exhausted. Parenting without support is like trying to pour from an empty cup. The truth is, strong parents are not the ones who do everything by themselves. Strong parents are the ones who ask for help when they need it. You deserve rest, support, and care. Your child deserves a parent who feels supported enough to be patient and present. Why we resist asking for help. Many parents struggle to ask for help because they fear judgment. They worry that admitting they are overwhelmed will make others think they are weak or ungrateful. Some have been taught to believe that self-reliance is strength and that needing others is failure. But asking for help is not failure. It is self-awareness. It means you know your limits and value your well-being. It also models for your child what healthy interdependence looks like. They learn that strong people still need others, that love is not meant to be carried alone. There may also be fear rooted in past experiences. If you have been let down or betrayed before, trusting others again can feel risky. But healing often begins with small acts of trust. You do not have to open your entire heart all at once. You can start by accepting one small gesture of support, identifying the support you need. Support looks different for every parent. For some, it means emotional support, like having someone who listens without judgment. For others, it means practical help, like childcare, carpooling, or meals during stressful times. Take a moment to reflect on what you truly need. Ask yourself, what would make my life a little lighter? Maybe it is someone to talk to, someone to help with errands, or someone who simply understands. You do not have to rely on one person for everything. A healthy support system is made of many small pieces that fit together. One friend might make you laugh. Another might help with logistics. A therapist might help you process emotions. Together, they create a network strong enough to hold you. Finding your people. Your people may not always come from where you expect. Sometimes family is supportive, and sometimes it is not. Sometimes the deepest connections come from friends, neighbors, or other parents who understand your journey. Support can come from a trusted friend who listens when you need to vent, a family member who can help with your child when you need a break, a parent group or online community where you can share experiences, a counselor or therapist who helps you navigate emotional challenges, a teacher, pastor, or mentor who provides encouragement. Finding your people may take time. Not everyone will understand your journey, and that is okay. You are not looking for perfection. You are looking for connection. The power of honest connection. Honesty is what makes support real. You do not need to pretend everything is fine. When you share your truth, you give others permission to do the same. You might start with small steps. Tell a friend, I am having a hard week. Reach out to a parent you trust and say, I could use some advice. Often people want to help, but do not know how unless you tell them. True connection grows when you allow yourself to be seen. The people who care about you will not turn away from your vulnerability. They will see your honesty as strength. When you let others in, you are not only helping yourself, you are also giving them the gift of feeling useful, needed, and trusted. Letting go of perfection. Support cannot reach you if you are busy pretending you do not need it. Many parents hide their struggles because they fear being judged. They clean before visitors arrive, smile through exhaustion, and say, I am fine, even when they are not. Perfection isolates. Authenticity connects. When you show your real self, people relate to you. They stop trying to compare and start trying to connect. You do not need to have a spotless home or calm children to deserve support. You only need to be human. The people who truly care about you will not come for your perfection. They will come for your presence. Building a circle of trust. A strong support system begins with trust. Trust takes time to build and effort to maintain. It requires boundaries, communication, and mutual respect. Start with people who make you feel safe. Notice how your body reacts when you are around them. Do you feel tense or calm? Do you feel judged or accepted? Your body often knows before your mind does. Be intentional about who you allow into your inner circle. Not everyone needs access to your personal life. Some people can remain acquaintances, while others become trusted allies. A circle of trust is not about quantity, it is about quality. Even 1 or 2 genuine connections can make a world of difference. When family is not supportive, not all families offer the support we hope for. Some may dismiss your struggles or make you feel guilty for needing help. Some may criticize your parenting or try to control your choices. If this is your reality, it is okay to set boundaries. You do not owe access to people who drain your peace. Love does not require constant exposure. You can create your own version of family. Sometimes family is chosen, not inherited. The friends, mentors, and community members who support you with love and respect are family too. It is brave to build your own network when the one you were born into does not meet your needs. It means you are choosing growth over obligation. Supporting yourself. While external support is important, internal support matters too. It means developing your own inner voice of care and compassion. You can start by talking to yourself kindly. Replace "I am a bad parent" with "I am doing my best." Replace "I have no one" with "I am learning to find my people." The words you use with yourself shape how you move through the world. Taking care of your body is also part of support. Sleep, nutrition, hydration, and rest are not luxuries. They are maintenance for your mind and heart. When you take care of yourself, you model for your child that self-care is not selfish, it is necessary. Learning to receive. Accepting help can feel uncomfortable at first. You might feel guilty or indebted. But support is not a transaction. It is an exchange of humanity. When you allow others to care for you, you remind them that love is an action. You give them the chance to live their compassion. Receiving does not mean you are weak. It means you are allowing the flow of care that keeps communities alive. You can be both a giver and a receiver of love. Becoming part of someone else's support system. When you are ready, you can also become part of someone else's support network. Helping others can be healing. It reminds you that you are capable, valuable, and connected. You do not have to do grand things. Sometimes it is as simple as checking on another parent, offering to watch a child for an hour, or sending a message that says, "You are doing a great job." Kindness multiplies. The more you give, the more you receive in return. Communities grow through shared compassion. Your child and your network. When your child sees you surrounded by healthy support, they learn important lessons about life. They learn that asking for help is not shameful. They learn that relationships require communication and boundaries. They learn that love is a web of connection, not a burden to carry alone. Children raised in supported homes are more secure and confident. They know that care can come from many people, not just one. They grow up understanding that strength is shared, not hoarded. You are not only building a network for yourself, you are teaching your child how to build one too. Healing through connection support systems do more than provide help. They provide healing. Connection counteracts isolation. It reminds us that we are part of something larger than our struggles. Healing does not always come from therapy or medication alone. Sometimes it comes from sitting at a table with someone who understands. Sometimes it comes from laughter, shared meals, or late-night conversations. When you are connected, your nervous system calms. Your mind begins to believe that you are safe. Healing is not only about what you do, it is about who you allow to walk beside you. Closing reflection. You do not have to do this alone. You were never meant to. Parenting was designed to happen in circles, in shared spaces, in the arms of others who care. Building a support system takes time, but each connection is a thread in the web that holds you up. You are not weak for needing others. You are wise for seeking them. Let yourself be supported. Let yourself rest. Let others remind you that you matter too. When you surround yourself with care, you not only make your own life lighter, you also teach your child that no one has to face the world by themselves. You teach them that love grows stronger when it is shared, and that more than anything is the kind of strength that lasts. Chapter 16. Parenting Through Aggression and Emotional Outbursts. Every child has moments when emotions spill over. For some, those moments are small. For others, they are storms that shake the whole house. When your child screams, hits, throws things, or melts down for reasons that seem impossible to understand, it can leave you feeling helpless and afraid. Parenting through aggression is one of the hardest experiences a caregiver can face. It tests patience, challenges love, and stirs up deep emotions of fear and failure. But aggression in children is rarely about defiance or disrespect. It is often the body's way of saying, "I am overwhelmed and I do not know what to do." Understanding aggression as communication, not as misbehavior, changes everything. It turns discipline into guidance and punishment into support. It transforms chaos into the possibility of connection. What aggression really means. Aggression is not the opposite of love. It is often an expression of distress. When a child's nervous system is overloaded, they lose access to logical thinking. The part of the brain that manages impulse control and empathy temporarily shuts down. What remains is raw emotion, and that emotion finds its way out through movement, sound, or even harm. This does not excuse dangerous behavior, but it does explain it. A child who is hitting or yelling is not choosing violence as much as they are losing control. They are asking for help through their actions. When you respond with calm instead of punishment, you are giving them what their brain needs most: safety. Once safety is restored, learning can begin again. Recognizing your own reactions. When a child becomes aggressive, your own body reacts. You might feel your heart race, your muscles tense, your anger rise. This is natural. Your nervous system interprets the aggression as danger, but your ability to stay grounded in those moments determines how the situation unfolds. Children borrow calm from the adults around them. If you can stay composed, even for a few seconds, you are already de-escalating the storm. You can take a breath, lower your voice, and say, "I am here. You are safe. I will not let you hurt me, and I will not hurt you." This does not mean you allow violence. It means you respond with strength and stability instead of fear. You may not always get it right. Some days you will lose your patience. What matters is that you come back, repair, and keep trying. Understanding triggers. Every child has triggers that make aggression more likely. Fatigue, hunger, sensory overload, or changes in routine can all ignite big reactions. For some children, especially those with developmental differences or trauma histories, these triggers can be unpredictable. Observing patterns helps. You might notice that aggression happens most often before meals, during transitions, or after overstimulating environments. Once you recognize these patterns, you can prepare in advance. You can reduce triggers by keeping routines consistent, allowing quiet breaks, and offering choices instead of commands. You can also teach your child to recognize their own early warning signs, such as clenching fists, rapid breathing, or loud speech. Aggression prevention begins long before the meltdown starts. Safety first. During an outburst, safety must come before teaching. If your child is throwing objects, hitting, or screaming, your first goal is to keep everyone safe. Remove other children from the area if needed. Move items that could cause harm. Keep your body calm, your tone low, and your movements slow. Never meet aggression with aggression. Yelling or grabbing in anger increases fear and intensity. A frightened child cannot learn. If you need to use physical restraint to prevent harm, do so as a last resort and as gently as possible. When the moment passes, comfort and reassurance should follow. The message should always be, "You are safe, and I love you, even when I do not like your behavior." After the storm, when the aggression ends, both you and your child may feel drained. Take time to breathe before trying to discuss what happened. Your child's brain will not be ready for reflection until calm has returned. When the moment is right, talk gently. You can say, "That was a big feeling. What happened before you started to feel that way?" Or, "What can we do next time when you feel that angry?" Avoid lectures or guilt. Focus on understanding, not punishment. Together, identify what might help next time. Maybe they need a quiet space, deep breaths, a hug, or time alone. Every debrief teaches emotional awareness. It shows your child that mistakes can become lessons. The power of co-regulation. Co-regulation means helping your child calm down by offering your calm presence. It is one of the most powerful tools a parent can use. You can kneel beside your child, Soften your voice and breathe slowly. You can say, "Let's breathe together," or "I know this feels big, but you are not alone." Sometimes words are not even necessary. Sitting quietly near them while they cry or rage can be enough. Co-regulation builds trust. Over time, children internalize your calm voice and begin to use it within themselves. They learn to self-regulate because you first helped them feel safe enough to do so. When aggression hurts you emotionally, repeated aggression can wear down even the most patient parent. It can trigger old wounds or leave you feeling rejected by the very child you love. You may start to dread certain moments of the day, waiting for the next explosion. These feelings are valid. They do not mean you love your child less, they mean you are human. Find outlets for your own emotions. Talk to a trusted friend, counselor, or support group. Write your feelings down. Cry if you need to. Taking care of your emotional health helps you stay steady for your child. You cannot teach calm if you are drowning in your own frustration. Caring for yourself is part of caring for them. Teaching emotional language. Children who use aggression often lack the words to describe what they feel. Teaching emotional language gives them tools to express themselves before the anger builds. You can name emotions aloud. "It looks like you are frustrated," or "I can see that you are sad." Over time, your child will begin to connect feelings with words instead of actions. You can also create a calm-down space at home with items that help them self-soothe, like soft textures, music, or quiet activities. Teaching these strategies in calm moments makes them more likely to use them during storms. The goal is not to stop all outbursts overnight, but to make them shorter, less intense, and easier to recover from. Repairing after conflict. Even with your best efforts, there will be days when aggression leaves you both hurt or disconnected. Repairing after those moments is essential. When your child has calmed, sit together and say, "We had a hard time earlier. I still love you. We will keep learning how to handle anger together." If you lost your temper, take responsibility. You can say, "I yelled earlier because I was upset. That was not the best way to handle it. I am sorry." Repair teaches that relationships can survive conflict. It teaches forgiveness, empathy, and accountability. Those lessons last longer than any punishment. Understanding aggression through compassion. Aggression in children often masks fear, confusion, or unmet needs. When you look beneath the behavior, you begin to see the child's heart. A child who hits might be saying, "I feel powerless." A child who screams might be saying, "I am scared you will leave me." A child who breaks things might be saying, "I do not know how to make this stop." Seeing aggression through compassion does not mean excusing it. It means understanding that behavior is communication. When you respond to the message instead of the surface, you can meet your child where they truly are. Knowing when to seek professional help. If your child's aggression is frequent, intense, or dangerous, seeking help is a sign of strength, not failure. Counselors, therapists, and pediatric specialists can help identify underlying causes such as trauma, anxiety, developmental differences, or sensory challenges. You do not have to face this alone. Professional support provides tools that bring structure and relief. It can help your family rediscover balance and safety. Asking for help teaches your child that reaching out is normal. It shows that love includes getting support when life feels too big to handle alone. Rebuilding safety in the home. Aggression can make the home feel unsafe for everyone. Creating structure and predictability helps rebuild trust. Set clear rules about safety and make sure everyone understands them. For example, we can feel angry, but we do not hit. Use simple, consistent language. Celebrate small successes. When your child expresses anger with words instead of actions, acknowledge it. "I am proud of how you told me you were mad instead of hitting." Positive reinforcement helps the new behavior take root. Safety is not just about physical space. It is also emotional. When everyone in the home feels safe to express emotions without fear, peace begins to return. Your healing matters too. Parenting a child who struggles with aggression can awaken old pain. You might find yourself remembering moments when your own emotions were silenced or punished. This awareness can be painful, but also healing. You have the chance to parent differently than you were parented. You are giving your child what you once needed: patience, guidance, and love that does not disappear in anger. Each time you stay calm, you heal a part of yourself too. You prove that love can be strong without being harsh, and that boundaries can be firm without being cruel. Closing reflection. Aggression can make the home feel like a battlefield, but it can also become the place where both parent and child learn their greatest lessons about love and resilience. Your calm in the face of chaos teaches your child safety. Your patience teaches them trust. Your repair teaches them that relationships can heal. You do not have to be perfect to help your child grow. You only need to stay present. Even when you feel tired or defeated, your presence says, "I am not giving up on you." That message becomes the anchor your child will hold on to through every storm. Over time, the outbursts will fade, and what will remain is the memory of a parent who stayed. And that, more than anything, is what heals. Chapter 17. The Power of Repair. Healing after conflict. Conflict happens in every family. Even the most patient parent will lose their temper sometimes. Even the most gentle child will say something hurtful or defiant. The goal of parenting is not to avoid all conflict, but to learn how to heal after it. Repair is what transforms broken moments into opportunities for deeper connection. It teaches children that love can survive tension and that people can make mistakes and still come back to one another. When we repair, we show our children that relationships are not fragile. We teach them that anger, disappointment, and frustration are normal parts of love, and that what matters most is what happens next. Why repair matters. When conflict happens and repair does not follow, the wound stays open. It becomes a quiet wall between parent and child. The child may begin to believe that love disappears when they make a mistake. Repair closes that space. It says, we can have hard moments and still be okay. It restores safety and trust. Every time you apologize, listen, or make things right, you teach your child emotional resilience. They learn that people can disagree and still respect each other. They learn that love is not something that breaks easily. Repair does not erase the conflict, but it changes what the conflict means. Instead of a sign of failure, it becomes a sign of growth. What happens when we do not repair? When repair does not happen, children begin to fill the silence with stories. They assume they were the problem. They might think, Mom is still mad because I am bad, or Dad does not love me when I make mistakes. These beliefs take root quickly, especially in young minds. Over time, they can grow into anxiety, shame, or fear of rejection. Adults who never experienced repair often struggle in their relationships later in life. They either avoid conflict entirely or react with extreme anger when it happens. Repair interrupts that pattern. It gives the child a new story. It teaches them that relationships are not destroyed by conflict, but by avoidance. The art of the apology. Apologizing to a child can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you were raised in a home where adults never admitted when they were wrong. But apology is not about weakness. It is about leadership. When you apologize, you are modeling accountability. You are showing that adults can take responsibility for their actions. You are teaching humility, honesty, and respect. A true apology does not make excuses. It sounds like this: I should not have yelled at you. I was frustrated, but that is not your fault. I am sorry. It can also sound like, I got angry when you spilled the juice, and I scared you. I love you, and I will try to do better next time. Children forgive easily when they feel seen and understood. Your words of repair become their inner voice of safety. Teaching children to apologize. Children learn to apologize by watching us do it. When they see that mistakes can be repaired, they begin to take responsibility for their own actions. Teach your child that apology is not about shame. It is about kindness and courage. You can say, when we hurt someone, even by accident, we try to make it right. Encourage them to focus on empathy rather than blame. Ask, how do you think your friend felt when that happened? Or what can we do to help them feel better? Apology becomes powerful when it is paired with reflection and action. Helping your child see the impact of their choices builds emotional intelligence and compassion. Repairing after you lose your temper. Every parent has moments they wish they could take back. Words spoken in anger, frustration that came out too sharply, or actions that felt reactive instead of intentional. If you lose your temper, the best thing you can do is acknowledge it. You can say, I yelled earlier because I was upset, but that was not the right way to handle it. I am sorry. You are not excusing your behavior. You are modeling responsibility. When you take ownership of your emotions, your child learns to do the same. You can also tell them, everyone gets angry sometimes. I am learning how to calm down when I feel that way. This normalizes emotion without justifying harm. Repairing after losing your temper strengthens trust. It shows your child that love is stronger than fear and that forgiveness is possible. Repairing when your child hurts you. Children are learning how to handle big emotions. Sometimes that learning comes with hurtful words or actions. They might yell, hit, or say something cruel. It can be painful to hear "I hate you" from someone you love more than anything. When this happens, take a deep breath. Remember that their words come from overwhelm, not truth. When the moment passes, talk to them about it. You can say, "That hurt my feelings. I know you were angry, but words can cause pain. Let's talk about what made you feel that way." This teaches empathy and responsibility. It also teaches forgiveness. You are showing your child that love can hold disappointment and still stay intact. Repairing through action. Repair is not always verbal. Sometimes it is shown through action. A gentle touch, a shared laugh, or an act of care can rebuild connection even when words are hard to find. You can make a favorite meal together, spend quiet time side by side, or offer a hug that says, "We are okay." Children read love through presence more than through language. Actions of repair restore closeness. They remind the child that even after hard moments, the relationship remains safe. The role of listening repair requires listening. Real listening, not waiting for your turn to speak. When your child tells you how they felt during a conflict, resist the urge to correct their perception. Instead, listen with curiosity. You can say, "Tell me more," or "I want to understand how that felt for you." You do not need to agree with everything they say. You only need to acknowledge that their feelings matter. Listening with empathy turns conflict into connection. It helps your child feel valued and respected, even when they were wrong. Repairing without overcompensating. Sometimes guilt after conflict makes parents overcompensate. You might want to give in, buy gifts, or relax rules to make things right. But true repair is about emotional connection, not material comfort. When you overcompensate, the message becomes confusing. Your child might begin to associate forgiveness with reward rather than growth. Repair works best when it is balanced. You can say, "I love you, we are okay, but we still need to talk about what happened." That keeps love and accountability together. How repair changes the family. When repair becomes part of family life, the entire emotional atmosphere shifts. Conflict no longer feels dangerous. Emotions can be expressed honestly. Everyone knows that even when things get messy, they can be mended. Children raised in families that repair easily grow up more confident and secure. They are less afraid of mistakes and better equipped to handle conflict in their own relationships. They learn that arguments are not the end of love and that reconciliation is possible. Repair does not make a family perfect. It makes it resilient. Repair between parents. Children learn about relationships not only from how parents treat them, but from how parents treat each other. When children see adults arguing respectfully and repairing afterward, they internalize those patterns. If conflict happens between you and your partner, repair openly when appropriate. You can say, "We both got upset, but we talked it through and we are okay." This reassures children that conflict is not a threat to stability. It shows that love can stretch and recover. If the argument was more intense, you can still model repair by showing calm afterward and explaining, "We said things we did not mean, and we are making things right." Repair teaches that relationships are built, not broken, by honest effort. Repair in the nervous system. Repair is not just emotional, it is physiological. When conflict happens, everyone's nervous system activates. Hearts race, adrenaline rises, and the body goes into protection mode. When repair follows, the body learns that safety has returned. This physical sense of calm reinforces emotional healing. Over time, repeated experiences of conflict followed by repair teach the brain that love is reliable. Children who grow up in this rhythm develop stronger self-regulation and resilience. They learn that stress does not have to end in abandonment or fear. Repair as a daily practice. Repair does not only happen after major conflicts, it can be part of everyday life. Small moments of reconnection throughout the day keep the relationship strong. You can say, "I am sorry I was distracted earlier. Tell me what you were saying. You can give a hug after a hard morning. You can smile after a disagreement to show that the connection remains. Repair is the heartbeat of family life. It is how we keep love alive through imperfection. The power of being seen. At the heart of every repair is the message, I see you. Children crave to be seen and understood, especially after conflict. They want to know that their emotions, even the messy ones, are valid. When you see your child clearly and respond with compassion, you are healing something deeper than the moment itself. You are building trust that lasts a lifetime. Repair is not only about fixing what went wrong, it is about reinforcing what is right, that love is stronger than anger, and that connection always has a way back. Closing reflection, conflict does not mean failure. It means you are two human beings learning to love each other honestly. The power of repair lies in the willingness to come back after the storm. To sit together and say, I still love you. That moment of return is where love deepens. It is where trust rebuilds. It is where both parent and child learn that relationships can bend without breaking. You do not have to handle conflict perfectly. You only have to come back, over and over again. That is what builds unshakable love. And one day when your child grows up and faces conflict in their own life, they will carry that lesson with them. They will know that healing is always possible. They will know how to come back too. Chapter 18, From Control to Connection. The Art of Letting Be. There comes a point in every parent's journey when control begins to lose its power. You can no longer make every choice for your child, prevent every mistake, or shape every outcome. You realize that the more you try to force growth, the more resistance you create. Letting go is not giving up. It is learning to guide with trust instead of fear. It is choosing connection over control. It is realizing that your child's path does not have to look exactly like the one you imagined for them. When you begin to let go, you create space for both of you to breathe. You stop trying to mold your child into who you think they should be and start helping them discover who they already are. Why control feels so natural? Parents want their children to be safe. They want to protect them from mistakes, pain, and regret. Control often begins from love. But over time, fear can disguise itself as love. You might think you are protecting your child when you are actually protecting yourself from anxiety or uncertainty. When we try to control every detail of our child's life, we are really trying to quiet our own fear. We are afraid of what will happen if they fail or of what it means about us if they make choices we do not understand. Control feels comforting because it gives the illusion of safety. But real safety does not come from control. It comes from trust, communication, and mutual respect. The cost of control. When control becomes the main way we parent, it creates distance. Children stop sharing their thoughts because they fear disapproval. They stop taking risks because they fear failure. Control may keep the peace for a while, but it also suppresses honesty. Children who grow up under constant control often learn to hide parts of themselves to stay loved. They might become obedient but anxious, successful but disconnected. When you choose connection instead, something different happens. Your child learns to trust you with their truth. They feel safe being honest, even when their honesty is uncomfortable. And that safety builds a relationship that lasts beyond childhood. The fear behind control. Every parent who struggles to let go carries some fear. Fear of losing their child's love, fear of being needed less, fear of being judged by others, or fear of repeating the mistakes of their own parents. These fears are deeply human, but they can cause harm when they go unacknowledged. They whisper that if you relax your grip, everything will fall apart. In truth, letting go is what allows your child to grow stronger. It does not mean you stop caring. It means you trust the roots you have already planted. When you find yourself wanting to control, pause and ask, is this about my child or is this about my fear? That one question can change the direction of your response. Guidance without domination. Letting go does not mean permissiveness. And it does not mean removing all structure or boundaries. Children still need guidance. They still need the comfort of knowing that someone wiser is there to help them make sense of the world. But guidance is different from control. Guidance says, I am here to help you learn. Control says, I do not trust you to learn. You can guide through curiosity and collaboration. Instead of saying, "You must do this," you can ask, "What do you think will happen if you do that?" Or "How can I help you make a plan?" This approach invites your child to think, reflect, and grow. It shifts the dynamic from power over to partnership with, letting them fail safely. One of the hardest parts of letting go is allowing failure. Watching your child struggle or make mistakes can be excruciating, but those experiences are how they develop resilience, problem-solving, and confidence. When you shield your child from every difficulty, you are unintentionally taking away opportunities for growth. The child learns dependence instead of perseverance. Failure, handled with support, becomes a teacher. You can say, "I know that hurt, but you can try again." You can help them reflect on what went wrong and what could be done differently. Your calm in the face of their mistakes teaches them that failure is not a crisis. It is a normal part of becoming capable. When control comes from love and worry, some parents hold on tightly because they love deeply. They cannot bear the thought of their child suffering, getting hurt, or feeling lost. This love is pure, but when guided by fear, it becomes restrictive. Children do not learn strength by avoiding hardship. They learn it by knowing that someone believes in them enough to let them try. Letting go does not mean leaving them alone. It means standing beside them with faith instead of hovering above them with worry. It is whispering, "I believe in you," even when they fall. Love that controls says, "I will protect you from everything." Love that connects says, "I will walk with you through anything." Trusting the process of growth. Growth is messy. It involves trial and error, risk and recovery. There will be seasons when your child pulls away, challenges your authority, or questions everything you taught them. These moments are not signs of failure. They are signs of development. Independence is supposed to look like resistance for a while. It means your child is learning to think for themselves. Instead of fighting the process, trust it. You can say, "I see that you are figuring things out. I am here if you need me." That simple statement keeps the connection alive. When you stay calm and consistent through your child's independence, you become their emotional anchor. They may drift for a while, but they will return to the safety you created. Releasing the illusion of perfection. Control often hides behind perfectionism. You might feel pressure to raise the perfect child or to appear as the perfect family. But perfection is not love, it is performance. When you try to control everything to look right, you lose the authenticity that makes relationships real. Your child does not need a perfect parent. They need a parent who is honest about mistakes, flexible in uncertainty, and loving through imperfection. You can teach far more through humility than through control. You can show your child that peace comes from acceptance, not perfection. Listening more, fixing less. When you stop trying to control every situation, you make room to listen. Often children do not need solutions. They need understanding. Instead of rushing to fix their problems, try listening with empathy. You can say, "That sounds hard," or "Tell me what you think might help." This does not mean you stop guiding. It means you give your child the dignity of being heard. You show them that their thoughts and feelings matter. When children feel heard, they become calmer and more cooperative. They learn to problem solve instead of rebel. Connection becomes the path back to peace, letting go of the outcome. One of the hardest truths in parenting is that we do not control who our children become. We can influence them, guide them, and love them deeply, but we cannot choose their path. At some point, parenting becomes a relationship between two separate souls. You are responsible for offering wisdom, but not for writing their story. Letting go of the outcome means accepting that your child's life will unfold in its own way. It means trusting that what you have given is enough, even if their journey looks different from what you hoped. When you stop clinging to the outcome, you rediscover peace. You can finally enjoy who your child is instead of mourning who they are not. What connection looks like. Connection is not control. It is presence. It is the quiet confidence that love will hold even when opinions differ. Connection looks like listening without interrupting. It looks like laughing together after an argument. It looks like saying, "I love you," when emotions are raw. Connection grows when you give your child space to be themselves. It grows when you choose understanding over winning. It grows when you show up not to fix, but to witness. Children who grow up feeling connected to their parents are more likely to stay close as adults. They call, they visit, they share their lives willingly. Control creates compliance. Connection creates belonging. When letting go feels like loss. Letting go can feel like grief. As children grow, parents often experience a quiet sadness. The little hands that once reached for you now reach for independence. This sadness is not weakness. It is love stretching itself to fit a new season. Allow yourself to feel it. Cry if you need to. Grieve the earlier years, but also celebrate what comes next. You are not losing your child. You are witnessing their transformation. The love between you does not end when control fades. It becomes something deeper based on trust rather than need. Letting be is the heart of this chapter. It means accepting that some things cannot be rushed or forced. It means allowing your child's emotions, choices, and mistakes to unfold naturally, without panic. You can still set boundaries, offer support, and express concern. But underneath it all, you hold the calm knowing that you cannot shape every detail. Letting be is active peace. It is choosing to meet each moment with presence rather than pressure. Closing reflection. Parenting begins with control and ends with trust. You guide, you protect, you teach, and then you learn to step back. Letting go is not the loss of influence. It is the gain of respect. It is the evolution from rule maker to trusted guide. When you choose connection over control, you give your child the freedom to grow into themselves while knowing they are never alone. You show them that love does not hold tightly. Love opens its hands. You are not losing power when you let go. You are gaining peace. You are creating a relationship that lasts long after childhood ends, and that is the art of letting be. Closing reflection. Compassion as a way of life. Parenting changes us in ways we could never predict. It stretches our patience, tests our limits, and reveals our deepest fears. But it also opens our hearts in ways that nothing else can. It teaches us how to love unconditionally, how to forgive, and how to begin again after every difficult day. Compassion is what holds it all together. It is the thread that runs through every moment of growth, every repair after conflict, every act of understanding. It is the quiet truth that no matter how imperfect we are, love is still enough. When we parent with compassion, we create homes that heal instead of harm. We create relationships that last longer than childhood. We build children who grow into adults who know how to love others and themselves. What compassion really means. Compassion is not softness or surrender. It is courage. It is the willingness to see another person's pain and still stay present. It is the strength to respond with love instead of control, patience instead of punishment. Compassion begins when we slow down enough to see the person in front of us, not just their behavior. It grows when we understand that every emotion, even the messy ones, is trying to tell a story. When you respond to your child's struggles with empathy, you are teaching them how to respond to others the same way. Compassion multiplies. It travels through generations. The role of self-compassion. You cannot give compassion to your child if you refuse to give it to yourself. Parenting demands grace because it is an imperfect art. There will be days when you are short-tempered, distracted, or tired. You will say things you regret and do things you wish you could undo. Self-compassion means recognizing that mistakes are part of growth. It means speaking to yourself the way you speak to your child when they fall short, with understanding instead of judgment. When you tell yourself, "I am trying," you keep your heart open. That openness is what allows learning to continue. Children sense when their parents are kind to themselves. It creates an atmosphere of emotional safety that radiates through the home. The ripple effect of compassion. Every act of compassion sends ripples outward. When a child grows up in a home where love is steady and forgiveness is possible, they carry that emotional safety into the world. They treat others with the same understanding they received. Your compassion teaches your child that kindness is not weakness. It teaches them that people can make mistakes and still be worthy of love. In this way, your parenting reaches far beyond your home. Every child raised with empathy becomes an adult who spreads that empathy in classrooms, workplaces, and relationships. The world becomes gentler because one parent chose compassion over control. What a compassionate home feels like. A compassionate home is not silent or perfect. It is alive. It has laughter, tears, noise, and calm. It is a place where everyone can speak without fear and where emotions are welcomed instead of shamed. In a compassionate home, rules exist, but they are rooted in love. Boundaries are clear, but they are flexible enough to allow growth. Mistakes happen, and repair always follows. Children raised in such homes learn that love is not fragile. They learn that connection can survive honesty. They grow up confident enough to be real, kind enough to care for others, and strong enough to handle conflict with grace. Letting go of punishment, embracing teaching. Compassionate parenting does not mean letting everything slide. It means replacing punishment with teaching. It means seeing misbehavior as communication and responding with guidance instead of anger. When a child acts out, compassion asks, "What is this behavior trying to tell me?" Often it is fatigue, frustration, confusion, or an unmet need. When we listen to the message beneath the behavior, we can meet the real need instead of fighting the symptom. Teaching through compassion builds trust. It teaches responsibility, empathy, and self-control in ways that fear never can. The parent as a mirror. Children learn how to treat themselves by watching how we treat them. Every word, tone, and gesture becomes part of the inner voice they will carry for life. When you speak with patience, you are teaching your child to be patient with themselves. When you offer forgiveness, you are teaching them that mistakes do not erase love. Your presence becomes their mirror. And when they look into that mirror, they begin to see themselves as capable, lovable, and enough. The courage to stay present. Compassion asks you to stay when it would be easier to withdraw. It asks you to keep your heart open even when it hurts. When your child is angry or struggling, staying present communicates, "You are safe with me, even now." That message builds unshakable trust. Presence is not about solving everything. It is about sitting beside someone in their storm and saying, "I am not going anywhere." You do not need to have all the answers. You only need to stay. Healing generational patterns. Parenting with compassion often means doing what was not done for you. It means ending cycles of anger, control, or neglect that were passed down through generations. Breaking those patterns is not easy. It can feel unnatural to respond with gentleness when you were raised in fear. But every time you choose understanding over punishment, you are rewriting your family's story. Your children will grow up carrying that healing forward. They will not have to unlearn what you are unlearning now. They will begin where you leave off, and the line of pain will finally begin to fade. You may never receive the compassion you needed as a child, but you can become the one who gives it now. In doing so, you are healing not just your children, but yourself. Parenting as a spiritual practice. Compassionate parenting is not just about behavior or strategy. It is a spiritual practice. It calls you to slow down, to listen, and to love without condition. Every challenge becomes an invitation to grow in patience. Every conflict becomes a chance to practice forgiveness. Every tear becomes a reminder of shared humanity. Through your child, you learn to love more deeply than you thought possible. You learn humility, empathy, and strength. You discover that compassion is not something you give once. It is something you live every day. When you fall short, there will still be days when compassion feels far away. Days when exhaustion wins, when you raise your voice, or when you forget to listen. Those moments do not define you. What defines you is your return. The moment you stop, breathe, and say, "I want to do better," you are already back on the path of compassion. Your child does not need a perfect parent. They need a parent who keeps coming back. Every return teaches them resilience and forgiveness. Every repair teaches them hope. The legacy you leave, what will your child remember years from now? They will not remember how clean the house was or how perfectly the schedule ran. They will remember how you made them feel. They will remember the sound of your laugh, the warmth of your hug, and the way you stayed when they fell apart. They will remember that you believed in them, even when they doubted themselves. Your legacy will not be found in perfection. It will live in the compassion that shaped your home. It will live in the kindness your child carries into the world. That is the true measure of success in parenting. Not how well-behaved a child is, but how loved they feel. A world shaped by compassion. Every compassionate parent changes the world in small, invisible ways. A calmer home becomes a calmer classroom. A loved child becomes a kinder friend. A parent who heals teaches their child to heal others. The ripple of compassion begins with one heart that chooses softness over hardness, connection over control, understanding over reaction. One day your child will raise their own children. They will speak gently because you did. They will listen because you listened. They will choose love because they learned that love is stronger than fear, and the world will be a little kinder because of you. Closing thoughts. Compassion is not a single act. It is a way of living, a way of seeing. It is the quiet force that turns ordinary moments into sacred ones. It lives in the words, "I understand." It lives in the pause before reacting, in the forgiveness after conflict, and in the presence that says, "You are safe with me." When you parent with compassion, you become both teacher and student. You help your child grow, and they help you become more human. The path is not perfect, but it is holy in its imperfection. Every moment of patience, every act of empathy, every time you choose love over control is a small miracle. Let compassion guide you, not just in parenting, but in every part of life. Let it shape your relationships, your words, your choices. Let it remind you that healing begins not with control, but with kindness. You have done more than raise a child. You have raised a future filled with gentleness, truth, and love. And that is the most beautiful legacy a parent can leave behind. The heart that guides. There is no rule book for the heart, no perfect map, no flawless start. We learn by falling, mending, trying, by failing small and still replying. The gentle path, though worn and slow, is where the seeds of wisdom grow. For love is patient, soft, and true. It teaches me as I teach you. I learned that strength is not control, but trust that gives another soul the space to stumble, laugh, and be, while knowing they are safe with me. I learned that anger hides a plea, that kindness holds the truest key, that every storm can calm and fade when hearts stay soft and unafraid. Through sleepless nights and endless care, through heavy days and whispered prayer, we build a bond that will not part, a rhythm pulsing through the heart. So let compassion lead your way through darkest night and brightest day. For love that listens, love that stays, will guide your child through all their days.